take it inside, where I can love how I like if I want it, whatever keeps me high. Yeah, we can take it, cutting loose on an endless spree. Good because we made it, and when mama's not around, they're telling me we're doing it. One metro, one, make it easy. We can take it inside. I can have it 'cause I act like I love it. It's a matter of pride. Yeah, we can take it. A good excuse for an endless spree. Good because we made it. The world is falling down. We may as well crash with it. When I'm not natural one, it's the one natural one. When I'm not there's no telling what we'll do when we're free. It's the one natural one. Well, crash with. When I'm not there's no telling what we'll do when we're free. It's the one there's no telling what we'll do when we're free. When I'm not there's no telling what we'll do when we're free. It's the one natural one. Well, crash with.
What is going on with all you great decoders out there around the world? My microphone's moving. All right. How we doing on this Wednesday, Mercury Day? I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Surprise little podcast. Just felt like doing it. So here I am. And it's great to be back. Yesterday, many of you watched my latest presentation, which was Trapped Decoded. And it was great to come back and put some content out. I'm a content creator. It's kind of my artistic expressions along with the study and research and scientists and all that kind of stuff wrapped into one. So it was nice to come back and share that presentation with all of you. Hopefully you checked it out. There was some, sine and cosine waves, some advanced decoding in there. But nonetheless, it's nice to be back, and I wanted to come on here and let's talk decoding. Made a nice little graphic, as you can see. And some people ask me, like, why are you putting yourself inside of a screen? Well, these are the fractals. This is kind of my way of showing you that this is how our reality works. I feel this is how our reality works. And so I'm a fractal into a fractal, and it just keeps going. It just keeps going. So, anyways, I got a lot of content coming out shortly. I'm going to be going over some of my new decodes, just slide by slide. The upcoming decodes I have a lot of content I've been working on. And I have, some other announcements to make as well. You guys and gals know that I also put out just recently, Jordan and I from Waters Above Crypto, the great Jordan. We did our live podcast. Let's talk about influencing. That one came out as well. It's about under 3 hours. That was pretty good run for both of us. So there's that content as well. And I have some upcoming podcasts I'm going to be a part of. So let's just kind of roll with the announcement, and I'll get into some of your comments in just a little bit. So this coming Saturday, I will be doing 2 podcasts. I will be doing Syncretism Society. I'll be joining my great friend Santos Bonacci over at the Syncretism Society, and we'll be going live on their channel. I have no idea what we're even going to be talking about, but it's always fun going over there and joining forces with the great Santos Bonacci. Just saw him yesterday. He's doing great. I just got back into Mexico myself. I was in the U.S. for about 3.5 weeks visiting family and helping a friend, and spent some time in South Carolina and Florida, and then came back here on Saturday. So I'll be doing the podcast with Santos, and then Saturday night, I'm going back to my routine of What's Your Question? And this one's going to be a very special one for me because it's What's Your Question 35, which is my birthday. My birthday is on the 35th day of the year. Of course, many of you great decoders know, you've been following along. 35 is linked to the word simulation, etc., etc. And just so you know, if you bring alchemy into the 35, it's the element bromine. Like, what's up, bro? Bromine. And bromine has an average weight or atomic mass of 79, which is gold. So think about that aspect right there when decoding this simulation. So speaking of simulations, I also have in the works, I'll be joining forces. Many people have been waiting for this. I'm going to be joining forces with Jason Brashears over at Archaics. I think we're going to be, I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm behind on my getting back to him. So I think it'll be next week because we want to put some posters out to advertise a little bit on his channel. He's an up-and-coming YouTuber. He's into the simulation theory. We're going to be chopping up some numbers with the Great Pyramid of Giza. There's something to the Great Pyramid of Giza, folks. And is the Great Pyramid of Giza what's creating this simulation? I have a feeling it has a lot to do with this reality. But anyways, that's another podcast I'll be doing. And I also want to let you know that I will be launching my new YouTube channel, which I'm going to highly encourage all of you to please go subscribe. Let me just show you this just so you can see with your own 2 eyes here. And there's no, like, well, I didn't see it. And let me see if I can find it here, because I'm logged into my account and I don't want to get kicked out. Yeah, okay. I'll have to just let you guys know, you guys and gals know. So my new channel on YouTube, which is going to be all about health and wellness and psychics and just really helping people from the physical to the mental. It's called Cosmic Sugar. My website is cosmicsugar.org, organization, cosmicsugar.org. And my YouTube channel is Cosmic Sugar. I will be starting to do podcasts just like this live, where I'm going to be interviewing people. So if you're into health and wellness, I'm going to be bringing in some top people that are in health and wellness, healers. And if you are a healer yourself and you have something you'd like to share with the world, by all means, send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and let me know. And let's see if we can maybe make it a fit to come together and, kind of accelerate your growth on the world stage with helping people with their physical and mental health and all that kind of stuff. So please get over Cosmic Sugar on my YouTube channel. I'm going to see if I can find it. But anyways, it is going to be my health and wellness site, and I'll be doing a weekly podcast over there talking probably strictly about health and wellness, because I think the world needs that. And it just feels like I'm being pulled, certified in nutrition, I'm being pulled back into that arena. And I just feel like I want to do a little bit more of that. So my brand Cosmic Sugar the tagline is become a better you. And that's through decoding yourself, of course, but taking care of the temple, taking care of the mind, filling yourself with positive thoughts and affirmations and vision boards and creative visualization and all those kinds of things that will level you up in life. So please get over to my Cosmic Sugar channel The logo is a C and an S. It's blue. You can't miss it. It only has one video on there right now, but I'm going to be doing some podcasts on that channel with health and wellness. And of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notifications, all that kind of good stuff. That way you don't miss out. Okay. So those are my little announcements, I guess. What else can I tell you? Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to be bringing on this guy named Greg, calls himself the Hydrogen Man. I'm really heavily invested in molecular hydrogen, drinking the molecular hydrogen. I've seen the tests, seen the results. I got my parents on one. I got my friend in Florida on one. And the results are just astounding to change your health and, really turn it around. And what I found through this process of drinking molecular hydrogen is that I saw this, when I was doing years and years of nutrition counseling, and I see a lot of people dehydrated. A lot of people are dehydrated. Maybe you're dehydrated. Just be authentic with yourself. Like, how much water do you drink a day? And it's a game changer just getting hydrated. The body is made up of primarily water. So when you don't give it the water, it dries up like a desert. And imagine, the body, it's warm. It's almost 100 degrees in there. So it's like an oven cooking. And if you don't saturate the cells and the organs, it just starts to become a desert. And then everything in your body, when it has to move for you, when you digest and when it has to do that, it doesn't move as fast, it slows down, or at least it turns to dust. So hydration is so important, and there are many people that are dehydrated. Matter of fact, the number one cause of daytime fatigue is dehydration. So those of you that get tired during the daytime, how much water do you drink? All right. I don't want to make this about nutrition, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm being pulled back into the water game again, and it's such a game changer. So I just wanted to throw that out there for all of you great decoders. So anyway, I got my tools in front of me. I have my birthday chart. I want to give a big shout out to Jeremiah Gabbard. He gifted me these big playing cards. They're pretty awesome. You can really see these suckers. They're really big. And then, of course, my tarot cards. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull cards because we're going to talk about decoding. Let's talk about decoding. Let's talk decoding. So let's get into some of your great comments. Thank you to everyone that has supported this mission, and then all the decoders I've joined with. Thank you for joining those people, because we're strength in numbers. Thank you for being neutral. Thank you for not judging other people because they don't believe in the same things you believe in. And it's challenging, and I'm just as guilty. I put myself in check all the time with these notions of the primal, the dragon inside of you, the one that sleeps down in the bottom of your chakras, that runs your ego. That sucker wants to be fed all the time. And when you stop feeding it, it becomes angry and irritated. When you hang out up here in the angelic realms, you don't feed the dragon below, and then it gets pissed, it gets irritated. So if you're in your reality of your life and you're becoming very reactory, like if things start pushing your buttons, as I say, if you become reactory, that's your primal that wants to jump out of you and just punch somebody in the face, or get angry, or engage on social media when somebody posts something and you don't believe in it. And you got to put your 2 cents. We all do it. And in this decoding world, ladies and gentlemen, not everybody agrees with everything. We all have our own journeys. I would say that all of you great decoders in this chat room here, we're searching for the same thing, the Holy Grail, in a sense. And I hope by now, by listening to myself and, Jordan, and you become neutral and you just, love is allowing. And that doesn't mean to just like, oh, well, just be silent, don't say anything and don't do. Listen, when you decode your life and you realize your life is scripted, you want to figure out what the script is. You're looking for the map. And that should be the priority for your life. Decoding yourself, decoding your partner, decoding your kids. If you got kids, especially, you can decode your pets. If you know their birthdays, yeah, it works with the pets too. Find their cards. So you should be decoding everything you can gather about yourself and the people that are closest to you to help better understand these people that you surround yourself with. Because when you start to see these people show up in your life a very specific way that is probably not your specific way, it's much easier to accept them for who their code is or what their code is. It allows you to have more toleration because they're just being them. And then on top of that, there's the layer of programming as we grew up as kids moving into the adulthood. There's that programming as well, conditioning. So when you become neutral in this decoding world, you can observe both sides of the fence and you realize that they both have a job to do. The superhero and the villain, Darth Vader, Yoda, the antagonist, protagonist, they all have a job to do. And those of you that are really set against the villains, magic straight up, ladies and gentlemen. If you push against that, you actually feed it. That's no bullshit. That's no nonsense right there. So, if you just took the time or resistance you put into those areas and you brought it back to yourself and you put it out into your world to create some constructive measures in your life, being maybe, maybe taking up a new hobby or just putting time into your decoding of you and your kids and your partner to understand or understand these people more, you would have a better life. Just some suggestions. Just some suggestions. All right, so let's get into some of you awesome people, man. So many people. I'm just gonna give a big thank you to all you amazing decoders. Trust me. So let's see. The system isn't for me, Jerry. Well, you got to make it for you because you're here. If you say, well, I want to get the hell out of here, well, you're stuck here. Unless somebody comes up with the golden ticket to get the hell out of here and you have that option, which may be a possibility. Until then, why not make lemonade out of lemons? That's how I look at it. Jeffrey, thanks for your support. Huge fan of last month. Very appreciative to have found a group of like-minded people. Makes me feel less crazy. Yeah, see, you want to be the minority in the decoding. The decoders are exploding, but you want to be in a group that's the minority. Jordan had said it on our last podcast. Oscar Wilde, the great poet, said everything popular is wrong. I've been a huge fan of this meme for a very long time. Everything popular is wrong. Pretty interesting. Malibu Moon, trying to decode myself, learning how my dragon below is irritated. Yeah, you see, that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You have a dragon. That's what Kundalini is. It's raising the serpent, the phoenix, the dragon coming from the lower depths of your root through your sacral to your solar plexus, to your heart, to your throat, to your third eye, to your crown. It rises up. And ultimately, really, you want to be in the very middle because you can't stay up here all the time. In the aspects of nutrition, we just use this. It's the pH scale, which stands for potential hydrogen, by the way, which is the sun. In the middle of that chart, it goes from 1 to 14. 7, the number 7 is in the very middle. That's because the blood, which is your lifeline, it's your oil, it sits at a pH of around 7.3 to 7.4. If it goes anything higher or lower, you will die. And it obviously regulates itself. It was written in the software like that. 7.3 to 7.4. Those numbers are huge. 73 and 74. Tantalum and tungsten or wolfram. There's a big story with that. So you want to be slightly love. You want to be slightly alkaline in the way you react to the acting on the world. Slightly love. Neutrality, slightly love. In the law of one material, Ra, it says that you want to be 51% service to others. That is how you win the game. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that whole law of one material is probably some of the better ways to observe life. The graduation, as it's talked about. Graduation from this reality to the next one, whatever that looks like. 51%. Slightly alkaline. All you gotta do is look at the pH of the blood. That's it. It's the sign that you've been looking for. And it's challenging because below in the lower depths of the chakras, the red, the orange, and the yellow, that's where all the fun is. Satiation, sex, procreation. That's where all the fun is. And then when you rise out of there and you at least get up to the balance, which is green, the middle, you then have the ability to look both ways and say, okay, today, where am I going to play? And sometimes you can't consciously be in that moment, so you're constantly playing back and forth. But when you're conscious of the now moment, more than you're not, you have the ability to be slightly on the alkaline side, slightly on the love side. I mean, that's why, like, you go into, people go to church, like, church is an archetype. I know people that go there just to feel better because it's on the angelic side. It's up here. So when you're like down in the depths, maybe that's your medicine. You just go to church to be around people that are like smiles and happy and love. And you don't have to continue to go there, but to get you out of that bottomless pit, you end up going. And I know people that do it. I mean, when I went to these mega churches in Texas, man, they're amazing. You just go there and you just feel the vibes, man. You just feel people just radiating love. Anyway, let's talk decoding. But yeah, I mean, Malibu Moon, when you don't feed the dragon below in the depths of your lower chakras, it's going to get pissed. Go watch the movie Venom. That's the primal. When your stomach says, hey, feed me, that's your primal. This is the animal right here. This body is the animal. It's your primal. And if you have been so accustomed to listening to what it says and be at its every beck and call, well, then it can be challenging to rise above that and say, no, I'm not going to do that. Like fasting, many people cannot even fast for one day because their stomach owns them. And then they'll blame it on everything else, like, oh, I'll faint or I'll get lightheaded. And yeah, that's your body's reacting towards what you're not feeding it. And it's the same thing with decoding. If we're talking about decode, let's talk about decoding. If you feed the negativity, that's what you're going to continue to get. Christine, I want to purchase one of those. If anybody that's interested in a molecular hydrogen machine, they're from Japan. It's the very best one. It's called the Lord's machine. Just send me an email and I'll get you in touch with Craig if you're interested in something like that. Pamela freaking Desert. Folks, if you're a desert man, you're decaying faster. I don't want to get into health more, but I can't help. I should just said, let's talk tonight. I was considering that. I'm like, maybe I'll just do let's talk ... So we can just leave it open. But that's kind of what's your question. So Sylvia Liveria, I'm a 10 of diamonds. Those of you that are 10 diamonds, let's pull that card out. I know this card well because my dad is a 10 of diamonds. Matt Groening from The Simpsons is a 10 of diamonds. Michael Richard Pence, the former vice president, is a 10 of diamonds. Tom Brady, former quarterback, is a 10 of diamonds. Prince, the artist Prince, was a 10 of diamonds. Michael Jackson was a 10 of diamonds. And, you know, since we're on this topic and we're going to talk about decoding, here it is, the 36th card in the deck. It's tied to the word operating. If you watched my Wizard of Oz, operating system, part of the operating system. This is the Jupiter card. Jupiter owns this card in the cards of illumination. 36 is tied to Krypton, which means cryptos. It's where Superman was from. And the 10 is the only number of its kind because in the binary there is no 20 or 30, so 10 is the ultimate number. It's the male-female, the androgynous number. But this card right here is tied to the phoenix. The word phoenix equals 36. This is the phoenix right here. 36. And what you all should be doing is decoding your parents. Like my dad is this card. My mom, my parents were pocket tens. My mom's the 10 of clubs. My dad's the 10 of diamonds. My parents literally are almost exactly 180 days apart. It's crazy. But what are your parents' cards? And then if you follow Sharon Jeffers and, you know, her books and her great teachings, she says that you can add these up. And then what you do is you add these two cards up, 36 and 23. And then you reduce down to 52 until you get to 52 or below. That's what, if you're married or you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or partner, that's what you can do with your two cards. You take the two cards together, you marry them, you add the numbers up, like this is 36 and 23. 59, of course, again, more comedy in my life. 59, the game of life is 59. I'm the prison planet card, playing the game of life that my parents put me into. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, you can do this with you and your partner to figure out what compound card you make up. Compound meaning two, and then you reduce it down to the number one card. And you all should be doing that. You can do it as a whole total family. If you got kids, you, your husband or wife, or kids, you add them all up, subtract by 52 until you get to 52 or below. That's what you guys make up as a family. And then go read about that card. It's going to be very abstract because there's all these individual experiences going on. Your life, your partner's life, your kids. You could even add your furry in there, your pets. What's up, Ryan? Ryan in the house. Frank is the 3 of Pentacles. That's the 3 of Pentacles is the 3 of Diamonds. The 3 of Diamonds, very well-known name, has that as their birth card. Donald Trump. Bernie Sanders, 3 of Diamonds. 29th card in the deck. Can be very, very tricky card, but a very powerful card. Tied to the element copper. These things all connect to the periodic table. All these cards connect to the periodic table. Except, of course, the Joker. Well, the Joker actually can be the 53rd card, which is going to be tied to iodine. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to join forces with Archaics. My birthday is February 4th. The Truth Traveler's asking. February 4th. And the interesting part about birthdays, since we're on the topic, is that you're going to probably be a blend of two. From all the research that I've been doing and decoding, it seems that these numbers, as I often say, they encroach, meaning they bleed into one another. They pair up. 7.3, 7.4 is the blood, the pH, the potential hydrogen of the blood. They pair up these numbers. Like I was born at 1:03 a.m. Anytime earlier, I would have been born on February 3rd. So in a different part of the world, it was actually February 3rd. If I go forwards. If I had been born in California, I would have been born on February 3rd. So there is some play with this. And if you were close to midnight, you may want to go read about the card that is the day before and see if you have any resonation with that. Malibu, any opinions on TLS? I don't know what those abbreviations are. You have to let me know. Well, I appreciate all the support and the kind words. I missed all of you. I miss doing this. This is where I feel like I'm in my wheelhouse here, is doing content creation and what's up, Ethan? I'm scrolling up to look at these comments. Natural one is 471 in satanic. Yeah, it's funny because natural one in the Chaldean is 39, and 39 is tied to Lucifer, and it's tied to that guiding light. If you watched my Trapped Decoded, I just picked that again. This is how my life is. Maybe you're like this as well. That song just popped into my head 30 minutes before I came on to do the podcast. Just popped into my head. Out of nowhere. Song's from 1995. It just popped into my head. And that's what I'm trying to tell the decoding world, yourself, is that these are clues. These are symbols and signs for you to decode. If you're walking around your house and all of a sudden a show pops in your head or a song pops in your head, go decode it. Especially if it's something like, where the hell did that come from? Like this song from 1995, it just popped into my head out of nowhere. I wasn't even listening to this music, but there it was. And it's just hilarious that it's a 39. And then Ethan, the great decoder, Ethan Rucker, 471. I love it. It's awesome. And who was it? Somebody had... Yeah, the Folk Implosion. Big shout out to that band, the Folk Implosion. What a great tune that song was, man. Whoo. Someone had made a comment on my Trapped Decoded. I'm just going to go to this and see if I can find. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what it was. Let's see. It was... Who was it? It was Shari Shartaz. It was the first comment. And she said, I can only say, welcome to my world, unfortunately. But she parenthesized, welcome to my world. Of course, I decoded that and the welcome to my world. Think about what I'm about to tell you now, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about decoding. Welcome to my world is a 71 in Chaldean numerology. What is, anytime you see 71, lutetium and Lucifer. 71 is the 20th prime number. 20 is linked to the word duality. So it's Lucifer and duality. Welcome to my world. Lucifer ruling over duality. That's what this stuff tells us. It's just so comical. And then I had found somebody on social media. I don't remember who it was, but I never looked at it this way. Again, truth bombs that you don't see them and you don't, or just life gets in the way. But it was the word Freemason, and she broke it down where it was free Ma's son. Free Ma's son. Ma is mother. Free May. Excuse me, May. May means mother. May's son. Is it telling us that really what I have thought of from a very abstract level, and this is purely theoretical, are we all decoding? Are we all coming together? And I had said this before many times on many podcasts. I feel like all of us decoding, we're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. And once that puzzle is finished, the implosion happens. It needs all of us to kind of put everything all back together again. Like we're literally combining all these words and alchemical elements and the tarot and the cards and birthdays and days on the calendar. We're all compiling it and connecting them all together. And the artificial intelligence is collecting that. And then is there going to be an implosion? Something like that, right? I know that's very abstract and theoretical what I'm saying, but is it possible? And I'm not going to stop decoding. You're not going to stop decoding. We just don't know the ramifications. Is there a downside to all this stuff? I don't know. But nonetheless, this free Ma Sun is the whole, when you looked at if you watched my Prison Planet Part 2, I think it was, I showed the alchemical representations of what I feel the incarnation reincarnation process is all about. Sulfur, mercury, the three. Sulfur, mercury, and sodium. And there was cadmium in there. And it led to the element 100. Fermium. Tied to the show, the 100. It's just fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. And the thing about it is that we're all Masons. Because the essence of what that word means is builder. That's what does a Mason do? I'm a Mason layer. I'm a bricklayer. I build stuff. Well, that's what we all do. You don't have to join a lodge or claim that. Because I'm a free Logan, I jokingly say that. I don't belong to any lodges. But if you really look at the word Mason and just leave out the Masonic aspect, Mason means builder. And that's what we all do. You're a builder. You build your life. And if you're a decoder, since you're here, you're building on the decoding world. So it's just really there for all of us. Nothing but numbers. That's right. It's all about numbers, folks. You can break it down so many different ways, and I think no matter which modality that we use to break down whatever your favorite modality is, it comes to frequency and waves and particles, which are measured in numbers. And it's all about light. And the light is all about the atom. You know, the interesting part, when you want to get a picture, so let's talk some decoding. This is kind of comical, but let me see if I can find it. These cards are a little big to handle, so let me just give you all of you great decoders a nice sneak peek, and that is the word atom. The hell is it? Tell me I'm missing that card. Oh, maybe it's in. No, it's not. So the word atom is the number 16 in numerology, Chaldean. And how many days of creation were there in theology? 1 through 6, 16. So we have the atom, and the atom's tied to the days of creation. The atom has a nucleus where the protons are, with the neutrons, and then out surrounding the proton or protons is the electrons. I don't even think the card's in here, right? Wow. My 3 of clubs is missing. Huh. Maybe I lost it. Oh, there it is. So here's the 16th card in the deck. 3 clubs. And remember, if you're following along, Lucifer, the show on Netflix, Thomas John Ellis, the actor they casted to play Lucifer, this is his birth card. He was born on November 17th. It's just comical. Jerry Bruckheimer, the producer of the show, is the same card. 16, Adam. So this is tied to the atom. And the atom is tied to light. And light's tied to Lucifer, the light bringer. And this is Adam. Adam is Adam and Eve. It's just hilarious. And this right here, when you convert it into the tarot, it becomes the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is card number 25. And the word in numerology that equals the number 25? Adversary. So what is that telling us? You're the adversary. I'm the adversary. This animal, this temple, is your adversary. You got to carry it around. It's your house. That's why you got to figure out the instruction manual on how it operates, so you have the best experience moving forward. And then, the 16th card in the tarot is the Tower card. So when you look at this right here, so we'll talk some tarot, right? So we showed the 3 of clubs being the 16th card in the deck, tied to the word Adam. Adam is 16. Well, when you look at the 16th card in the major arcana in the tarot, folks, there it is. This is like a penis right here, and this is ejaculation. And out pops the atom. The atom's the seed. It's all there in this, all of it in this, in everything. It's all in the cards and it's all in numbers. It's just comical. And I know these people, I know they didn't make this card to represent the atom. It's tied to the word Sirius. Sirius is 16. The dog star. It's all there, folks. We just got to have fun with this. I know we're all trying to figure it out. Like a lot of you, you have special placements in your astrology charts. You're attracted to the occult. You're attracted to the mystical arts. Like I have Scorpio rising, Libra rising, Scorpio in the Western. Scorpios are typically known as the PIs, the private detectives, searching for, you like crime and drama. That's why on the show Lucifer ends up working for the police department with a detective. Because Lucifer, the devil, is going to be not only the crime maker, but the crime searcher. So those of you that are Scorpio risings, you're probably going to be attracted to crime, drama, that kind of stuff. The unknown, the secrets. You want to know all that stuff. It's hilarious. John Steele, nice to have you from the great state of Rhode Island. What made me switch the color on the happy face? Well, because it's springtime. Earth Day just passed not too long ago. And I just wanted to change it up. I like changing the color. I'm just a huge fan of neon and the colors. So that's why I did that. I got the yellow on my hand. So, which of course is, this color yellow is tied to the 3. 3.14. Recently, I changed my phone number. One day it just hit me. My US-based cell phone, I've had a Hawaii number, an 808 area code for so long. I still have it for my WhatsApp, but just hit me one day. I was looking at, maybe you want to do this because we're talking decoding. You can do this as well. You can take your Social Security card and you can look on the back and there's a set of numbers. I'll have to try to find the video and share it with all of you. Maybe I'll try to find it and pin it to this after this transmission's done. But you take the Social Security card and on the back there's going to be a set of numbers. And then you go and locate that and what bank it's linked to. There's going to be one in Philadelphia. There's going to be one in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, lo and behold, because my life is so freaking scripted, it's retarded. My social security card and the bank that I'm linked to is in St. Louis, Missouri, that ultimately has the 314 area code. My last name is Payette. As most of you know, that's why I started to really dive into pi many years ago, because I know I was supposed to be tapping into this. And so I decided, you know what? I want to get more dialed into the code. Maybe this is a conscious choice. Maybe I'm using my free will. I'm going to change my phone number. And I went on and I changed my phone number to a 314 area code. That's what I did. So now I have a pi area code. How about that? In St. Louis, Missouri, the gateway to the West has the arch. Folks, if you go study the history on St. Louis and the bank, I looked at my social security card, I found the number and I saw it was St. Louis. I almost fell off my chair. I was laughing so hard. And then I just, I'm going to decode the address of the bank that my social security number is attached to. And I think it was 411. The address for St. Louis, Missouri, the bank that's tied to my social security number, it starts with 411. And if you know what the 411 is, which, you can link it to April 11th, which is going to be the 10 diamonds card, the operating system, the comedy just continues. So that's my life, and that's why I say I just trust it now. I don't have to do anything on special days. I look back, I look at the timestamps of my videos, and they're all there. Everything that, if you go, like the last decode I just did on Trapped, I improv all my videos, ladies and gentlemen. I do not sit there and try to fidget with it to get it on an exact number. That would take too long, and I don't have to do it. But my Trap Decoded, see, YouTube, when they put the video out there, you're going to see two numbers. You're going to see a number listed, and then when you actually go into the video, it's going to be 1 second less, I think it is. So the Trap Decoded, you know what the total amount of time was on that video? 36 minutes and 22 seconds. Which equals the number 58, which is the frickin' Puppet Master, which is my birth card, which is the Trapped and Limited card. And the video was called Trapped. I don't belong to any organizations. It's just me, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just like you. You don't have to try to figure it out and do things That's why I know mankind's being used. I'm not even doing anything special. I'm just living out my experiences. I'm digging and digging and digging. And then the more I dig, the funnier it gets. Everything has a connection, Johnny G. Johnny G, do license plates have a connection? In the decoding world, everything has a connection. What's your high school mascot? What's the first car that you bought? Decode the numerology on that. License plates, addresses, schools, hospital you were born in, all of those have relevance in your code. It's just hilarious. Larson family, the moon reflects the sun. There's quite a bit of people that are joining in on that. I'm not a believer of that. Just because when you observe the moon, especially, like at night, when the sun is nowhere to be found and there's the moon, well, where's the light coming from? And, I don't think the moon gives off its own light. I think the moon is illuminated by the sun. Santos doesn't agree with that, but I don't think the moon illuminates itself. I think the moon does illuminate by the sun, but that's just my take on it. And, someone had come on here during one of my What's Your Question podcasts and said that the moon, I can't remember her name. I wish she'd come back on again, but she had said, and I had never heard this. She said the moon was once the sun. And I was like, whoa. That sounds like a really good theory. I mean, many of the planets out there have many moons. Why would we think that ours couldn't have 2 moons? Is the sun going to burn out and then we'll have 2 moons and there'll be a sun to replace that? I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing that out there. Bryson Reed, is everything predetermined? Well, I can't say for sure whether it is or it isn't, but I can tell you with absolute confidence by studying my life and many other people that I do readings for and my family, and we're all in a script, the ones that I look at. I decoded so many people and places and things. I got 200, almost 300 videos now. I mean, I decoded the longest home run hit. If you haven't seen that one, Joey Myers from the Denver Zephyr, AAA baseball. The whole thing is ridiculous. It goes from the guy hitting the ball and then the Denver Zephyr and the Zephyr train and how long the train track is. It's tied to I think it's 1,019 miles long or something. It's the 119. It's so ridiculous. So yes, I think, do we have some free will? Well, I'm not opposed to that. But the more I've gotten dialed into this code, the more I can see that I'm just along for the ride. And I think maybe perhaps when you become observant of your code and you just surrender. Because like I said so many times, you go yell at the sun or go yell at the moon, see if it moves for you. And please let me know. Go scream at it and tell it to get out of the way, or tell it to go over. Hey, go over there, son, and see if it moves for you. The stars, go yell at Orion's belt. See if Orion's belt moves for you. Predestination is absolute in my world. I've proven it to myself personally, my parents, my sister, my family members, people that I've decoded. They're honest. We're on a script. There ain't anybody going to take that away from me. It's not even just like, oh, that's what I believe and I read it in a book. No, I have proven it to myself countless times. And then it's just like, okay, well, then how do you operate in this life? What's going to make you happy? And then, even if you say, well, I'm not going to observe the other people on the world stage, I'm not going to give them energy anymore, that may not even be you making that decision. Or maybe it is. Maybe that's the free will that we have, is that we become consciously aware of how the game works, and we're like, I'm not going to play their game anymore. And then you level up. That is possible. I don't know. But I know absolutely and emphatically we're running in a script. And that means that the people that are always getting blamed in the decoding world, they're being used. Got to decode with the Jesuits coming out. Yeah, those people are being used. Yeah, sure, they have a high top position, but they're being used for that position. When I talk about nuclear energy, the word nuclear, clear the board, nuclear. It's all in the phonetics of the words, new and clear, nuclear. It's tied to Shiva, the destroyer, which is tied to the Christ. Jesus, I'm coming with the sword. Just hilarious, this code, man. Matricom G-Box, predicting the future. I haven't tried to tap into that. The challenging part about predicting the future is I haven't seen anybody get continuous streaks of getting it right, and you just get crucified for it. When you get it wrong, you get hammered. You can make I decoded Don't Look Up, the movie that came out last year. And I gave 3 scenarios of what I thought it meant. And let's see. Let's see if one of them comes true. I don't really care. I'm not attached to the outcomes. They're purely just abstract ideas. Yes, you can start to look at dates on the calendar, and they do run in cycles, and you may be able to predict things at that point. You don't even need to probably look into a crystal ball. You can just look at calendar dates and dates. I mean, I'm doing this podcast with Jason from Archaics, and he says he has a way with numbers where he can tell you how things are going to pan out. So I'm kind of looking forward to this Decode with him. And he's using pi and phi, by the way. Malibu Moon, best way to win the game is to not to play. That's exactly right. I did say that. If you watch the movie Tron Legacy, the remake of Disney, of the 1982 movie Tron, the whole story of Tron was a guy, Kevin Flynn, creates a game and downloads himself into the game. And then he can't get out. He can't get out, which is where you get trapped from. Maybe Ma's son is trapped here. But the thing is that in Tron, he says that the architect that he created, which becomes the artificial intelligence, he says it's his game now. I'm not going to play it. And then you just go to the Matrix and you look at the Mr. Smiths and the defenders of the artificial intelligence, keeping you in line. And then you get into the 2011, me and Jordan talked about this on our program, the Adjustment Bureau. If you get out of line, you're going to get put right back on track. Some event in your life is going to happen. Many of you have been experiencing that. Something happens, pushes you onto a different journey or path. And you're like, what the hell happened? Well, maybe it was you being adjusted. Kate King, what do I think about NFTs? Well, I mean, that's going to link to the quantum world and the metaverse. And they're creating it. It's already done. There are people buying property in the metaverse. It's just a fractal down. It's downsizing. Matt Damon, you know, it's so interesting with Matt Damon. He was in the movie Downsizing. He was in Elysian. He was in The Good Shepherd. He was in a lot of these movies. That guy from Boston. And the NFT is going to be tied to the quantum realm, which maybe is where we're going, no matter what. See, I'm not attached to anything, folks, because, you know, attachment is what causes our suffering. So, like, let's just hypothetically say that we are moving into transhumanism and there's nothing we can do about it. That was the game plan all along. Not by man, by the way. Not by man. I'm just throwing this as a hypothetical, by the way. So man did not choose this whole idea of transhumanism. And maybe, just maybe, this reality is so corrupt that it needs to wipe man off the board, or at least a big portion of them, to clear away the playing field. And maybe that just means you end up moving into a machine and putting your consciousness onto it. It's already set up to be doing that, whatever that looks like. And I know a lot of people that are religious-based are going to be like, oh, God's going to step in and he's going to smash all that stuff. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that what they're interpreting is going to mean that when you're decoding it. You know, I gave this possibility of this word paradise, paradisio in the Greek, which is where it originally came from in the New Testament, tied to the demiurge. And is the paradise where there's no suffering, meaning that you get rid of this physical body? You know, if you're not, like, I'm almost 50, I'm 49. I'm going to hit 50 in February. I know it's, you know, I got 3/4 of the way to go, but almost halfway home, actually. But 49, almost 49 and a half. And I'm not the spring chicken I once was. I'm feeling it. Keep myself as healthy as I possibly can, but I'm feeling the breakdown. It's not fun. So if you're given that opportunity, like you hit, a certain age and you have some kind of major thing going on and you were given that choice. I know a lot of people say, no, I would never do that. I would never. But man, I'm telling you, if you're not feeling pain, if you're not in pain management, well, that's not fair to answer that question. And again, I'm not pushing this whole transhumanism topic because I don't know what's going to happen ultimately. As a researcher, a deep decoder, I don't have all the answers. I'm merely just speculating on this stuff. But I just think our reality is not what we think it is. And I think the interpretations of what people have been programmed with are not what they think they are. And I think personally, to keep people in line, they've been programmed with this idea that someone's going to come save them. And when that happens, you become docile. And you're just like, I don't have to do anything. I'll just wait for the Savior to come. So there is that possibility. And that idea gets created to keep people in line. Wishing and hoping that someone's going to come back and take care of them. Which, there is some truth, I think, to that because that's the game wiping itself clean. Anyways. Sylvia, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, folks, from what was it? It was life. Let me just look this up. It was life after. If you type in the words, let me just do this here. Hang on. Yeah, if you type in the words life after death, you know what number it is? 56. So it's very possible that when you die, you get recycled right back in again. You change characters. And that's just the way it is. And I'm not saying these are absolutes. I'm just purely speculating. Based upon decoding now. And again, this is why I strongly suggest to the decoding world to use just one cipher. Get all your words into one cipher. I see it in my Telegram group. They got every freaking cipher open. I'm like, oh my God. It's just too abstract when you have all these ciphers open. One, just use one. Get all your foundations built with one. All the language with one. All your words strung together with one cipher. Just one. Then you have something special. Because if you type in the word God, I don't think I've ever, let me just see this. I'm going to open up, watch. I'm going to open up all the ciphers here. I'm going to type in the word God. A lot of 8s, 5, 4, 1, 1, 1, 7. It's every number. The only number it isn't is 2. But you have these 11s that'll reduce down to the 2. It has the word God has every number in all the ciphers. So what the hell are we doing with this? Where do you go from there? How do you take all the numbers from one word and say, okay, well, then this one connects to this and just use one cipher, folks. If you really want to get yourself established, if you really want to figure your life out, just use one. And I'm going to suggest you use Chaldean. Chaldean connects to the cards. Chaldean connects to the tarot cards. Chaldean connects to alchemy on the periodic table. Chaldean connects to pi and phi. Yes, I know some of these other ciphers do, but not directly like Chaldean does. And these are just my suggestions. I'm not saying they're absolutes and they're going to be something that you need to do absolute with. Ultimately, it's not my journey. I don't walk in your shoes. I'm just a decoder. I'm a researcher. And from everything I've researched, and I have years of experience doing this, countless hours, stick with one cipher. That's it. Get rid of all the other ones. Just for 6 months, just use Chaldean to get all your words in. And then start adding another one in. The English ordinal will be the second one. Because if you go from Chaldean to septenary, you're gonna have digit 5, digit 4, this one's 1, this one's 8. I mean, how do you figure that out? I see in the decoding world, people get all excited, they get all these connections. There it is, ooh. To me, that's not how to properly decode. Properly. Because, I was once there. And now I look back at my time spent there, and I'm like, it's all, you have to go through it. It's like, you're starting off with your additions and subtractions and divisions, and then you work the multiplication tables. You're not anything ready for trigonometry. You're not even ready for algebra. You're going through your multiplication. Then you then you go through some equations. Then you may study algebra. I didn't even get past general math. I didn't even like math when I was in school. Didn't even get into algebra. You can't take formulas from trigonometry, throw them at somebody that's figuring out decoding at a general math level. They're just not going to they're not going to understand it. So my trap decoded. The analytics right now are horrible. I don't know, maybe because I've been away for over 3 weeks, but nonetheless, the watch time's down, the views are down, and there's some sine and cosine waves. The decoding world, they're not even ready for it yet, the sine and cosine waves. For the majority of decoders, they're looking at it, they're like, this doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. You're just trying to do mental gymnastics. Like, what? Dude, you don't even see what I see. There's so many, you have square roots. Then you can get into the square cipher. Like, these ciphers have proper ways to utilize them. Can you use decodings to tap into your spiritual power? Yeah, I think so. I think because you're a script. You're written into the software. So everything about you is written into the software. You just got to figure it out. It's like that old scenario of when you buy a brand new car, in the glove box is the owner's manual. Like the owner's manual is in your glove box. How many of you actually pulled that out of the glove box and went through it? Probably never. You don't need an owner's manual to run the car. But we need an owner's manual to run this, I think, to level up. You don't need to study your astrology. And I just got this book on it. Why did I get this book? Look how thick this sucker, my new beach book. Because I want to know more. I want to fine tune this thing. Plus, I love the occult. It's not for everybody. And as a matter of fact, it's a minority. How much Red Bull do I drink? Occasionally, I have a can or two a week. There was a time when I was decoding Red Bull and I was drinking one every day. I just feel like I immerse myself in something and I become closer to it. That's how I roll. Like when I'm decoding somebody, a musician, I play their music while I'm decoding. Because I feel like I get in tune and harmony with their frequency. It draws me closer to them. That's just how I see it. Vamos is asking, can we change the software? We're changing it all the time. I guess the better question is, can we consciously change it without being used to change it? Even when you say, okay, I've broken free from the script, there's no way you can prove that. People are saying, well, I'll get in my car and I'll go drive to the store and prove you wrong. Well, maybe that's your higher self trying to prove me wrong. So it doesn't get blamed. Or it doesn't get revealed, if you will. There's no way to prove these things either way. Like I say, mankind's being used. Some people, no, I'm not being used. But see, there's no way to prove either side. But I can support my side with all the decoding that I've done. The tons of research to support that mankind's being you. We're living in a script. If you haven't seen my 911 decoded, the emergency dialing code for the United States of America, you have not seen my 911 decoded, go to my channel, go to the magnifying glass, type in 911 decoded, go watch that one. You make the decision yourself. Clearly I showed these people that were all about that, making the first phone call, the police that were this police station, the chief of police, they're all being used. All of them. Rodin's vortex. What's up, Hallie? Rodin's vortex and the VW Malibu. Yeah, I love Rodin's circle. I actually think there's 4 of them that make up this reality in the Taurus fields. In my Great Architect of the Universe, I showed there's 4 of them. That's kind of how I see it, but love the Rodin's vortex. Sage is saying, why do you want to prove anything? And then ego in capital letters. Maybe. I mean, what if it's the angel that's trying to prove something? I know that's kind of maybe a contradiction because the spirit inside of you, I feel like it doesn't need anything. But when it slows down and becomes man and becomes physical matter, it doesn't have a choice but now to inhabit the avatar that it's stuck inside of, and it has to coexist, and it has a symbiotic relationship with the demon inside of you, the dragon inside of you. It's a symbiotic relationship, and then that's a fractal, and the fractal above that is you're a cell in the battery. We're all cells. We live inside this self-contained system called life, Earth. Earth is a battery, and it charges the sun and the moon. We live on the dielectric plane, being polarized on the dielectric plane, and the sun and the moon is the magnetism and electricity. And that's exactly what we are. We are batteries. If you haven't seen my Christ battery, check that one out. $777. What an interesting number that is. Let me tell you that. Let me take a sip of this. Let me share my screen and show you guys this. Oh, Don, I don't have the damn website. Hang on a second. Stick with me here, folks. So this is another website that I use right here. It's called decimal.info/digits of pi. Let me see if this will pull it up. Okay. So here's this website right here called decimal.info. And I'm not even used to this side right here. Let me see. I want to just show all of you something on how to decode, the things that I do to decode. Let me just type it in. Hold on. Give me 1 second, folks. I don't even know how to navigate to get this. God, okay, didn't get it right. Okay, here it is. So this website right here, decimal.info. I'm going to put this inside the chat box so you guys can mess around with this. Here we go. Here it is. I'll pin it to the top here for now. So this is how am I still? Okay, cool. So this is how I decode using the string of pi. Now, obviously, we can go to the Sabidium.com and we can type in any digit here and we can find where it appears. But you can also go to this website right here and you can type in how many digits you want to go into the string of pi. So this right here is the outcome for going 175. So if you just type 175 here, and you click that, here it is. Here's 175 digits past the 3 point in the string of pi. And then what we do is we just highlight all this, we copy this, we go to the Gematrinator here, and then we paste that. And look at what number that we get. Let me just get to the base ones here so we can. So it's going to give you 176. So there's two ways you can look at this in the decoding world. You can take away the 3, and you're going to get the number 774, and you're going to get 175, or you can add the 3 point in, and this is 175 digits past the 3 point. Why the 175? Because when you go to the periodic table and you start with this element right here, lutetium, most of you know this is tied to Lucifer and Lucy. Look at what atomic weight it has, 174, and in science they're going to round this up. They're going to go to 175. And that's why I'm saying is that numbers are going to encroach. You're going to have the 174 pairing with the 175. And so there's 175 decimal digits. We copy that. We paste that into the Gematrinator to get the outcome. It's just adding these numbers up. Look at what number you get. And if you know the significance of this 777, it's tied to love and fear. It's tied to sulfur and scandium. I showed this in a previous decode. Right there. 777. Tied to Lucifer. So that's, some decoding that you can do. But, numbers connect straight to chemistry. The numbers connect straight to alchemy. We are made up of a lot of these elements. The elements are on the periodic table, which I feel is the motherboard. And these elements are vastly important in the decoding world. Multiverse. So people energy harvesting are technically stealing from our mom and dad. Well, I don't really know what you mean by that. People give me an example of people energy harvesting. I mean, energy harvesting is just simply magic. I'll give you a perfect example of somebody harvesting energy. President of the United States. The Queen of England. Your local and state governments, the television, the news anchors, sports teams. When someone comes on television and you tune in, they're getting your energy. Unless, of course, you know not to give them your energy. You're not consciously giving them your energy. Every time you tune into a show on television and you get emotionally involved with that show, where's your energy going? It's going to the show. I don't know where it goes from there, disperses. But if you get emotionally involved with an actor or actress and you get angry at them, that they're getting your energy. Straight up. That's how energy works. It's pretty easy to really understand. The bugs, no, they're fruit. In Mexico, there's like fruit flies here. So you get fruit, you bring it home, and then they just fly around sometimes. And they ain't no mosquitoes. I tell the mosquitoes, I talk to them I give them chances to get out of here. Yeah, I mean, vamos, so no point getting emotional. That's the thing. See, I talked about this with Jordan in our podcast, and I said, if you were to actually sit down with somebody that was going to coach you, like if you hired me as your coach, as your, I like to be called a life strategist, right? But if I were to come to your house and you said, hey, you know what, Logan, I want a makeover. What can you do to help me? From top to bottom, up, down, sideways, physical, mental. You go through everything. And one of the things that we go through is how much time do you spend externally outside of your head and into somebody else's world? For instance, let's just hypothetically say that you spend 2 hours a day on the computer. Because a lot of people say, oh, I don't even own a television, but you got a freaking computer and you got 2 cell phones. It's like, come on, man. But let's just say you spend 2 hours a day on social media and the internet. And, it's just doing dumb shit. It's not even, you may be reading about stuff, but a lot of you go onto Facebook and you're sitting there scrolling, or you're on Instagram and you're looking at, oh yeah. And next thing you know, a half hour goes by and the only thing you've done is given all these people your energy. When you're scrolling through Instagram and you're looking at beautiful people, or you're looking at animals, or you're looking at, people doing the wacky stuff they do, you're giving this stuff your energy. Straight up. If you were to take those 2 hours back every day and put it into something constructive that would make your life level up, your experiences would grow. That's just straight up magic, folks. Straight up. Alan's asking about mythology, and Genamine, you talking about Jupiter's moon? Jupiter's largest moon, if that's what you're talking about. I don't have anything memorized off the top of my head because I haven't researched too much on, if that's what you're talking about, Jupiter's largest moon. But I mean, Jupiter has a lot of moons. I love mythology. If you study the actual, let me just show all of you. Let me tie it in there. If you want to talk about mythology, where's the card? These cards are big. They're harder to handle. Here it is. So the Pandora's box, that story in Greek mythology, which is about Jupiter, Prometheus, Epimetheus, and Pandora. It was Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus that were the creators of mankind, made us from clay. Prometheus was the Titan along with his brother. One was forethought, one was afterthought. And of course, it was Epimetheus, the afterthought brother, who got involved with Pandora and opened up the box. Pandora's box is typically like the nightmare that happens. All the suffering and the pain. And you got to ask yourself, like the story of Jupiter, the king of the gods, why would you even create such a thing? But the Pandora's box is Saturn's magic square. I'm convinced of that. And here it is. This is the card that's linked to Pandora's box. The Nine of Hearts. 9 meaning endings and completions. The reason why this card right here is tied to Pandora's box is because there are 9 numbers in Saturn's magic square. This is the last one. The 9 of Hearts is going to link to the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups is directly tied to Pandora's box because it is card number 45. You see the words Pandora's box, when you decode them, it's going to give you the number 45. And 45 is tied to the 9 of Cups. Here it is. So the 9 of Hearts, 9th card in the deck, but then the card that came after the tarot, it's the 9 of Cups. This is the Pandora's box card. Then it's going to go to the 8 of Cups and the retreat and the journey. But this is what you're stuck in, the box. And as I showed in my trap, decoded the number 56. The sine and cosine wave of the 56 was 45 and 52. And 52 is tied to the element tellurium, which means earth. 45 is tied to rhodium, which is the rose that gives the bees the honey. These are all telling us the story and the narrative of how this reality works. Rhodium, tellurium. It's Pandora's box and earth. That's it. That's what it's telling us. You're in a box and it's on earth. And you ain't getting out till you die, and you may never get out. You may just recreate, level up. That's why, folks, we don't know what's happening after we die. The only thing we do know is what's happening now. So you might as well be the best little devil you can be while you're down here and check that off the list. You might as well be service to other people. Check that off the list. You might as well stop being a dick. Check that off the list. Be nice to people. Help people. Decode yourself. Decode the people you're closest to. Live and let live. Don't force your journey on other people. Check all that stuff off the box. Because it's very possible that if you do all these things, you level up. And if you have no choice but to come back and be reincarnated, and there's no choice about it, and that's possible, not saying it's absolute, you might as well check as many things off the box as you can, off the list, just to make sure that you have this base covered. It kind of makes sense. I don't need to believe in a character to save me, to check that off the list. I don't need that idea to be a good person. I don't need that idea to help people. I don't need that idea to be loving towards people and be service to the world. Don't need any constructs to do that. I just feel it in my heart to do that. It's common sense. I was kind of a little off topic on, let's talk decoding. Olive or Olav, the box is the matrix, the 666 carbon structure. The box is tied to Earth, which is why you have the Mecca on Earth. And I can't wait to have this conversation with Jason from Archaics, Jason Bashirs, because I have a feeling that the Great Pyramid of Giza, underneath it, is a cube. Just a theory of mine. It sits on a cube. Just maybe. $52 is of just a Very special number. The word prison planet equals 52. Prison and planet both are 26. 26 is magnetic. 26 is electric. We live in a magnetic electric universe on the dielectric plane. All right, well, let's just take a break here and let me go and show you guys my upcoming decodes. You guys ready? All right, so here we go. So I have this one coming out right here. I have a lot of interest in this presentation. Bloodline decoded. You know, what gave me the idea of this was the show on Netflix called Bloodline, and it just hit me while watching that. And of course, I've decoded blood. If you haven't seen my random thoughts series, where I take all these different topics and just do a mini decode on all of them and just put them all together, I have blood on my random thoughts number 6. Showed how our blood is tied to the number 286, which is the 113th element. 113 is the 30th prime number. The word demiurge is the number 30. The word Jehovah is the number 30. The word Santa Claus is the number 30. The word Nazareth is the number 30. The bloodline. And it's tied to Japan, the land of the rising sun. So I have this one coming up. I don't have a cover for this one, but I have the speed of light decoded coming out. This one is going to be an absolute masterpiece, I think anyway. Tooting my own horn here. The speed of light. Obviously, you can see the comedy talking and just using the Chaldean again, ladies and gentlemen. You know how I roll. Creating the foundation of this reality we call life. And the words we use to describe it. The speed of light is the 56 tied to the words lights, camera, action. That 56 tied to barium. Barium is the 137, and that's the 33rd prime number. Speed of light, 56. So I have this one coming out. Then I have the Phoenix, which we're going to be talking about when I get into the podcast with Jason Brashears from Archaics. The Phoenix, obviously, tied to the operating system. Operating system is in my Wizard of Oz decoded. There's the 36. 36 is tied to the 10 diamonds card, as I said. Those of you, and it's the Jupiter card. So Jupiter fits in somehow, some way with this. Personally, I feel the sun is operating in the throat chakra, and then Jupiter is operating through the third eye. Jupiter has a sun. It's called the sun above our heads, the Helios, and the Phoenix rising. So I have this one coming out as well. Then I have the word light, spelled L-I-T-E. I've been playing around with a lot of words and the phonetic spelling of the words. And I know typically in the English language it's L-I-G-H-T, but you can also phonetically spell it just like this, L-I-T-E. It pronounces the same, has the same pronunciation. And I have this one coming out. This one will be a gem as well. Then, of course, many of you are waiting on this one. I'm kind of stuck with this one at the very moment, so I've shelved it. I'm not really excited about this decode for some reason. I'm just not finding like some deep content for this one. And maybe Jupiter's running this entire reality, doesn't want me to find it. But of course, the story of this is Abraxas, the Abraxas family, and the big takeaway will be who played the Abraxas character, the main character that's running the energy harvesting system on Jupiter, which was really interesting because in The Good Shepherd with Matt Damon, his son was the same character. I can't remember his name, but nonetheless, this one does have some nuggets in it. So I got this one coming out soon. I have this one as well. This is another big one for people, this illumination. And I feel like it's spelled this way because, you know, this Al right here. This Al is really the dead giveaway for so many nuggets, which is going to be the 1 and the 12, because the A is 1, L is 12. That's going to give you the 13, and aluminum is the 13th element, but it's illumination, and this one is going to be a very, very big and thought-provoking decode, tying into the 13 signs of the zodiac, which is including Ophiuchus. So I have this one coming out as well. I'm working on this one right here. I don't know what to name this, but I'm working on the Sun and Saturn. I had already done a decode on this. It's one of my earlier decodes many moons ago. And, obviously these two coming together, are they forming the simulation? Because 35 is tied to the word simulation. So is it Saturn, directing the sun? And, the sun is Helios, the Titan, and Saturn is a Titan. So we have two Titans here, and are they just working in cahoots together? I know you have the moon there as well, but there is something to this, and that 35 is a pretty big deal. So I have this one I'm working on, and then I have this one that I just came out with, which a lot of ruckus with this dude right here, Elon Musk. Elon Musk decoded. Got that one coming out. And that's it. That's what I have more, but these are the highlighted ones that I'm working on right now. So get excited, folks. I got a lot of good content that's going to be coming out to show all of you great decoders. This one right here, the speed of light, man. Whew. I'm going to be introducing some layers of decoding using the pi and phi, but going to be showing you how to use the numbers as they encroach upon one another, because like the 5 and the 6, they pair up in the total, and that's how pi and phi is. You must use a digit before and a digit after in your measurements, and I'm going to show you how to do that. This one's obviously going to be big on our blood. So there you have it. Let me just get off this display capture. There we go. And why am I not? Where's my overlay? Oh, my overlay. Hold on one second, folks. Let me just get my overlay here. Give me 1 second. My overlay disappeared. Hold on 1 sec. Hold on, folks. Just give me 1 second here. Where the hell did it go? Lost my overlay. One second, folks. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Let me see if I can find this thing. Hold on a sec, folks. Intermission. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, back to your comments. The moon is the satellite that picks up Saturn's signal. It's very possible that is the case. In the movie The Truman Show, Christoph was the one that was running everything from the moon. So it's very possible. Personally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm at the point now where I think Jesus Christ is the moon. I had said this a long time ago. I know people are really pushing against that, but it's very possible Christ is the moon. I know he has in the typical pictures of Jesus, he's got the solar disk behind its head, but the moon would have the solar disk. Personally, the word Jesus, again, strictly going with the Chaldean, okay? So I want to give you a nugget here to think about when you look at the tarot cards. I'm just really not having a fast. Is that the bottom? So, in Chaldean numerology, the word Jesus equals the number 18. The word Christ equals the number 18. And then hydrogen, the first element, has an atomic weight of 1.008. Then you have argon, the 18th element. And in the tarot, the 18th card is the moon. I know that completely pushes over on the fact that a lot of people think Jesus is the sun, which could be the truth. But I can't escape the fact that when you do the decoding like I do with the tarot cards, Jesus could be the moon. And, the sun's the co-partner of the moon. I have no doubt in my mind that Lucifer, the light bringer, is the sun devil. I don't have any doubt in my mind now because of the correlations that myself and all of you other great decoders have found. It's the sun. So if the sun is Lucifer and Lucifer's Thomas, the twin brother of Jesus, is it possible that Jesus is the moon? Baptism, the John the Baptist story, is tied to the moon. John equals 18. The moon is known as the god of sin. And the story of the Jesus Christ character, the idea of the Christ, whether he was real or not, I don't know. I don't deny it, but I simply can't prove that he was or was not here. But that story was he will take all your sins away if you put faith in him. Dump all your faith, dump all your sins on the Christ. And when you get baptized and get dunked into the water, it's tied to the moon because the moon is known to run the tides of water. So it's all linking to that. And the moon is not going to give you a moon burn. You can go out on a full moon, stay out all night long, and you will not get burned by the moon. But if you go out in the sun and do that, you will get scorched. Which one better represents the devil? Not the moon. It's the sun. Is that why the Truman Show picked the moon and picked the character called Christoph to direct Truman Burbank? It's just really interesting. Let's go to some of your comments. I haven't seen actually Malibu Moon. I have watched a few episodes of Travelers. I just didn't resonate with it. I watched maybe like 2 or 3 and I was like, I just lost interest. So Halley 74, Elon Musk. See, I don't believe that it's Elon, it's Elon. They pronounce it Elon, which means the syllables would get broken up between the E and the L. Elon. And that's how it rolls off your tongue. This is another way you can decode. You can take the words and you can break it down into the syllables. I used to do this many, many years ago. And there's truth to that. It's how the spells roll off your tongue. It's not Elon, it's Elon. And E is the fifth letter. And if you take that and link it to astrology, the fifth house is Leo the lion. And Leo the lion is ruled by the sun. Elon Musk. I don't think it has anything to do with L. I just don't. Otherwise, it would be pronounced that way. It's not. So it's a standalone E. When you actually break it up, it's it's a 515. It's Elon. It's a 5. He's a 5. That's just how I see it. That's what I'm going to be coming out with my Elon Decoded. It's not L on, it's Elon. Have I decoded halos, rainbows, and glories? I have not. Energy harvesting. Can I do a live on that? Well, it's very simple. Put up an event. I'll give you a perfect example of harvesting energy. Presidential debate. Energy being harvested. Live concerts. Energy being harvested. The Olympics, the opening ceremonies, energy being harvested. Sports games, sports events, energy being harvested. That's just pure and simple how it is with energy harvesting. We don't have to really get too complex with this. Is that the attention you give to whatever it is you give attention to is giving it energy. You essentially give it your gas. Jordan made a great analogy of it. He said, your gas is special. It's your tank of gas. And people just frivolously give their gas away. Like, here you go. I got plenty. Here, take it all. You can have it all. That's why, again, Tron, the way to win the game is not to play that game. Play your game. Yeah, Jesus Christ equals 59 in septenary. So again, this is, another layer to this decoding world. It's, it's 36 in Chaldean, it's a 59 in septenary. Which one are you going to pick? Are you going to use the 59? Are you going to use the 36? What would you do with these numbers? One's a 9, one's a 5. I mean, where do you go with that? So I see a lot of decoding out there. People, they want to decode and they have all these ciphers opened up and they're just like, oh, well, this matches this and this much this, so it must mean that. It's like, it's easy to mix and match ciphers. Even just, the 4 base ciphers, that's easy to connect words to. That's just simple. Reduce it all the way down to just using one cipher. And it's going to be tougher, more challenging. It may be more frustrating. You may not get as many connections, but what you will do is you will solidify a foundation and then you can add another one in and start to see the layer of that. It's an onion. Christine Venus, what about the sun walking on water? Jesus is the sun going over the horizon. Well, the moon, at a full moon, the moon walks on water as well. Christine Venus. On a full moon, the moon will sit on the water or walk on the water as well. But again, I just straight up look at nature and I say to myself, which one is more destructive? It's not the moon. The sun, as much, and I was born on a Sunday. I got the sun. I'm a huge fan of the sun. But if we go tit for tat, the moon is much more subtle energy than the sun is. Sun is very dominant. It doesn't move for you. I mean, the moon doesn't either, but the sun is it's fire. So it's destructive in a lot of ways. The moon, it's just whatever it is. Multiverse. I'm talking about those who intentionally steal your energy. Well, again, mankind's being used, so let's define intentionally. I know you're going to have a fractal and say, well, okay, let's just eliminate the fact that people are being used. Okay, fine. So let's just hypothetically go on that notion. And then who would be stealing your energy? Well, I don't know, because then you're talking about intentions. I don't believe in that. I believe in people being used. So it's really hard for me to really grasp my mind around people intentionally stealing your energy and doing it on a conscious level where they think they're in control. Because it's just a big Ponzi scheme anyway. Yeah, Enki and Enlil, I have that one. I was working on that decoding as well. Enki and Enlil decoded. Enki and Enlil equal 30. 30 equals the demiurge. If you go type in Enki and Enlil in Chaldean, you're going to get 30. Demiurge. That's the Isaiah 45 verses 7 scripture. I create evil and I create peace. Enki and Enlil. Anunnaki is 26. Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh is 26. It's just all the same shit, man. It's just the wardrobe of this reality. Whatever created this reality, it's everything. It gets bored. When you look at this card right here in the tarot, let me just show you the story of the tarot. So the number 40 is a big deal number in the string of pi, in the string of the golden ratio. 40 is. 40 is tied to the element zirconium. Zirconium comes from the word zargon, which means gold colored. That's going to link to the box in Pandora's box and being used for the energetic harvest of energy through lead to gold. We are lead, and then we get sucked dry from the energy and we turn into gold, tied to the sun. But this card right here is the 40th card in the tarot deck. This one. Tied to death and regeneration. The scarab beetle. This is like the universe being bored. This card means being bored. It's like, you're bored of life. Like, okay, you're the creator of this reality and you've been here for eternity. You've seen every single game play out, every single scenario. You've played out all these avatars and characters. And you're bored. So that's why it's death and regeneration. Constantly regenerates itself. So what's going on inside your body right now? Inside your body, you have all these cells, and these cells commit suicide, self-suicide. It's called apoptosis. And that gives off energy to keep you going. New cells are being created. It's exactly how this reality works. We're mini batteries The cells in your body are feeding your battery, because you're a battery, I'm a battery. Here's your positive and negative right here. And you feed the battery called life. And the anode and the cathode of this reality is the sun and moon. We're little cells in the battery. That's what we are. Thomas the Tank. Yeah, I was on Thomas Decoded. Did I know Ringo Starr narrated the first two? So I didn't know that. Ringo Starr from the Beatles. Notice on the moon card, there's 3 red stones and 4 yellow, element 34 selenium. Yeah, and that's the other challenging part, is because 34 is linked to Lucifer as well. So there's like a wrench that throws in everything, because in the cards of illumination, if you take the 34th card in the deck, which is the 8 of diamonds, I can find it here, which I showed so many times. Thanks to Kevin Clark for this find. I had it pegged to the 7 of diamonds, and then he corrected me. Here it is. So if you take this 8 of diamonds right here, you can fit Lucifer's sigil right over the top of that perfectly. Covers all those diamonds. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Of course, it's tied to the stars and the sun, but the moon has to be in there as well. It's tied to selenium and 34. That's the 34th card in the deck right there. Looking at your comments. So they control us and use us as cattle. Well, yeah, we are cattle. If you really look at nature, if you just look at nature, you will be given all the truth. All of it. And it's all fractals of being used. If you just take the cow, it's a big clumsy animal. Now, I'm a huge animal lover. Stopped eating animals. I'm a huge animal lover. But if you look at the cow, what was its design for? Its design, what was it for? I can't think of any other reason that it was designed to be eaten. Personally. And I don't want to expand on that beyond what I just said. But you have the cattle, the cow, and if you study the whole aspect of the man being used, it's going to tie you to the cattle. And the cow, and the bull, and Taurus, the bull, and ox, and Venus, and procreation, and all that stuff. That cow is, if you go study the Royal Society of Chemistry on the periodic table, it's tied to the 25th element. Now, I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. I'm about to drop a truth bomb here. The element manganese, the 25th element. Let me just go and show you this, folks. Let me see. Here we go. Here we go. This periodic table right here has so many truth bombs in it, it's ridiculous. I have figured out personally how this reality works, and I have so much to thank for the Royal Society of Chemistry, for all the little pictures here. So when you go to the 25th element right here, manganese, the weight, the average weight is 54. There it is, 54. You round it up, it goes to 55. Predestination equals 55. But it's 54. And if you remember, what was broadcasting the hypnotic trance in the movie They Live? If you look at this 54. Right there. It was cable 54. So we have a clue here of what John Carpenter's trying to say. Giving the hypnotic trance. And we link it to this element right here, manganese. Starts with the letter M, the 13th letter. And then you look at the little icon. There it is. There's the cow. And there's the magnet. And being lifted off the ground. And what's really fascinating about this element, it's the 25th element. You go here to, let me get rid of all these other ciphers here, just to give you, condense it down. Here it is. Black sun is 25. So what's the magnet? What's magnetic? What's pulling us off the ground? Perhaps recycling us as cattle. Man's being used. It's just a fractal above the animal. It's right there. It's all right there. The clues are in this element manganese. And then, you can decode this guy right here. You can copy and paste this guy who discovered it. And if you know what the 62 tied to the element samarium and what this means, so many ways to look at this, folks. So many ways to skin a cat, as they say. But that 54 and 25, man, tied to black sun, and that's the projector. And I'll give you a clue of what the cards of illumination have to say. I don't think I have my... Actually, let me pull this up and give you guys something to look at. There it is. Okay. Those of you that are interested in the card, I'm going to be coming out with a course on the cards. I'm ready to dive into the cards and show you guys how I read the cards. With this card system, I predicted the past 3 Super Bowl winners. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not gambling with it. And I'm certainly not going to give out how to read the cards, how I do it, to get into sports gambling. Not interested in showing anybody that. If you figure it out on your own, great. But let me just show you some of the clues on these cards. Tied to that 25. Okay? I'm going to bring you guys to this chart right here. Now, if you want these graphics, just send me an email and I'll send them to you. My email is decodeyourreality@gmail.com. This right here is the boilerplate chart for the 52 cards for the cards of illumination. On the right here, this side, the master life configuration, this is tied to your ego. When you incarnate into matter, your card's going to be in here. And what you'll do is I'm going to use this 10 of diamonds in the very dead center. This is the X marks the spot, the 10 of diamonds. And then you find out what planet owns that card. Well, it's in this is the Jupiter line right here. All these cards are in the Jupiter line. And then you have the planets down here at the bottom. And so this 10 of diamonds is in the Jupiter line. The largest planet in the solar system, so we're told, is Jupiter, the king of the gods. It's got the great red spot on it, perhaps indicating the all-seeing eye. But it's this 10 of diamonds. And again, ladies and gentlemen, the card 10 diamonds is the 36th card in the deck. And so when you go to numerology and you type in the word operating, there's the 36, operating system. And it's the 56, and that 56 is going to be lights, camera, action. 56. It's also tied to this, speed of light. You see that? All 56. Right there. So this right here is tied to the operating system, the 10 diamonds. Now, there's a mirror to this side. And then you just go over here to the left. Whoops. And you get the master spirit side, otherwise known as your handler card. This side runs this side. You can say the master spirit side right here is your spirit, your mind, before it incarnates into an avatar. So what you want to do is you want to find the card that occupies the same space that the 10 diamonds is located at. So the 10 diamonds is here. So what card is sitting in the same spot? It's the Queen of Clubs. The Queen Bee. The Queen Bee. Clubs is the air suit. The idea of this reality. The operating system. So the operating system is tied to the Queen of Clubs and the 10 of diamonds. I will remind you that Matt Groening, the founder and creator of The Simpsons, has a birthday card of the 10 of clubs. And he's tied to the operating system. How about that? What do you think the odds would be? That the longest running show in American culture, The Simpsons seasons, is tied to the operating system. Okay? And this Queen of Clubs is the 25th card in the deck. Tied to the manganese. Perhaps telling us that the operating system is using us for energy harvesting. Not man, but whatever runs this reality beyond the scope of man. So that's how you read the cards. And the cards, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, are profound. So you have this 10 of diamonds and its co-partner, the Queen of Clubs. And Santos Bonacci, this is his birth card. That's why he's got all the nuggets. That's why he's super smart. And he loves humanity and he just wants the world to be in a better place. He works for the Queen Bee. That's why this card right here is called the Fortunate Blessings card. Anybody that has this card, you have the ability to amass a fortune in your life if it's in your code. Many people that have as their birth card, Tom Brady, Prince, Michael Jackson, Matt Groening, they're all wealthy people. Doesn't mean that if you have the 10 of diamonds, you will be wealthy, because there are other factors involved as well. But those two cards are tied to the operating system. The 36 and the 25. Those two cards. And these two cards, when you add them up, remember, you can do this with your partner, your husband, your wife. These two added up is the number 61. And 61 is tied to Prometheus. Promethium. The Titan who stole the fire and gave it to humans. The Titan who molded man and woman out of clay. 61. Tied to the operating system. tied to the Wizard of Oz, tied to light. 61, and it's also tied to Pandora's box. 61 is the golden ratio, 1.61. The golden ratio. And I show that the golden ratio comes from the third eye. It spins out. It's there, folks. The truth is in the cards, it's in the tarot, it's in numbers. You just got to connect the dots. In alchemy, and then you have to there's a proper way to use numerology. Some like to call it gematria. I like to say it's numerology. You got to know what the numbers are. There's a proper way to use these ciphers. Chaldean works with the cards, it works with the tarot, it works with alchemy, it works with pi and phi. That's why you don't need to use any other cipher. You just got to learn these other systems. My brother's a 10 of diamonds. Six of diamonds is the 32nd card in the deck tied to, there's someone in my head, but it's not me. If you haven't seen my trap decoded, you'll have the 32 there. It's tied to the element germanium. Germanium is tied to the number 72, and 72 is tied to theology and the 72 angels and demons. 32. 32 is the degrees at which water freezes. So 32 and 33, they are a pair. 33 is when water transmutes into a liquid. 32 is where water freezes and turns to a solid. So it's a transmutation of energy. 33 and 32. And these numbers, I feel, describe our reality. 32 is hell. 32 is hell. Prime example of the six, hold on a second, folks. There we go. Prime example of the six of diamonds. This, and again, we got to have fun with this. We can't take stuff so seriously. It doesn't mean that this is going to mean it for you, what I'm about to tell you. So O.J. Simpson, you all know who he is. He wore the number 32 on his jersey. You want to talk about a guy being used? Perfect example. O.J. Simpson. This guy, I have a decode coming out on him. It's shelved right now, but I'm working on it. He wore the number 32 in high school and college, and then the professional, NFL. And if I show you what that 32 is tied to, sulfur, Lucifer, germanium, the 72 angels and demons. And it's tied to the 131 because 131 is the 32nd prime number. And the big clue was the song from 1973 off the album Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Song number 2 called Brain Damage. Roger Waters, there's someone in my head, but it's not me. That total statement is 100. Matter of fact, let me just show all of you. Here we go. I'm going to do it real time. Here you go. This is what the song, here's Brain Damage. Okay? Brain Damage. 29, linked to copper. Linked to the yod because 29 is the 10th prime number. But this is the song, there's someone in my head, but it's not me. 131. Then you go to numberempire.com and you type in the 131. And there's the 32. 32nd prime number. And then you go to the periodic table and you can get your clues here. Sulfur has an atomic weight average of 32. 16 is the Tower card. 16 is the atom. 16 is tied to Lucifer, becoming matter. And then the 32 is going to be tied to this element, germanium. There's the 72, tied to the 72 angels and demons. The sliding scale of this reality. But when you look at O.J. Simpson, and you look at his jersey, all throughout, you go study this guy, it was 32. 32. Here's his jersey when he played for the Southern California college. All through high school. This guy is one of the biggest cases on the world stage. This guy was being used. His life was not his own. Life was not his own. This is all a movie. Now, he may have done something that I'm not even going to repeat it. He may have done that. But it's all just a movie, folks. This reality is not real. It's not real. It's real to us, but it's not real to whatever's observing this reality. Whatever's creating this reality comes down here and it becomes man. And it's like, oh, I think I'm going to jump into O.J. Simpson's body. And I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go do that. And then when I get tired of that, I'll leave that body and I'll go into another body. Maybe I'll go down to and be 1,000 bodies at one time and experience this reality. I mean, if you think of and use logic and critical thinking, folks, if you created a video game and you had the ability to go in the game and play the game in real time and you can go down, you'd go in the game and play it. Folks, this reality is not real. And your energy is being siphoned. And there's no way around it. You can definitely detract from their game, that game. Like right now you have the Johnny Depp, and there's so many people watching that. Just giving their time away, siphoning their gas to something that's never going to pay you back. Why am I going to decode OJ? Because I find it pretty interesting. I just go what I'm downloaded in my mind, what my little voice in my head tells me to do. I just go do that. I don't even have to think. Whatever comes to me. Altered carbon. It's just hilarious. People tuning into Johnny Depp's trial. It's like, man, you're never going to get any of that time back. You're just giving away your gas. Giving away your gas. Which, I mean, I guess I'm being a hypocrite because I'm watching Ozark right now. I'm like, freaking that show is just insanely good. I can open and authentically say, yeah, I watch shows. I have shows that I'm specifically like. I like the crime and drama stuff. I got a Scorpio rising. What can I say? My latitude, longitude's 41 and 71, tied to Lucifer. I was born on a Sunday, tied to Lucifer. The city I was born in is 28, tied to Lucifer. It's just a joke, my life. So I don't take it serious. It's a freaking joke, folks. If you were given the code to say that this reality is a joke, then own that. I'm not saying it's a joke for everybody because there are a lot of people suffering, but they're in the game. I came here to Mexico. You know why I came here to Mexico? And again, I can show you the clues for myself, decoding my life. I was supposed to come here to Mexico. First place I came to in Mexico, I moved into a building. Building was built before I was born. And I could show you all the signs and symbols of why I was supposed to go there. I was led there. And then I came here to the beach side in Cancun area and show you the signs and symbols of that. I'm telling you, folks, if you're willing to decode your life, you will start to see a script playing out in the background. It will be undeniable for you if you're willing to just surrender. And then it's a lot of freedom. And then if you stop doing the blame game like a lot of decoders do, they're just simply just blaming everything. And you know the thing that they don't really understand is all the magic energy they give to these entities that they can't stand. They're just feeding them. Continually pumping their gas into their gas tank, into these entities' gas tank. And all the resistance that they're putting into this, they're depleting their gas tank and they're giving it and they're making these entities stronger. That's magic 101. How do you defeat a nemesis? Don't pay attention to it. Take back your gas, put it into something constructive that will make the world a better place. And if everybody did a little bit of that, then everything that's being acknowledged now, all the resistance and the push against, those things would not have any energy to thrive anymore. That's how you change your culture. Decode yourself. Figure out what the hell you're doing here. I'm not into debates, James Green. I don't mind having a collaboration or a conversation with other decoders, but I'm not interested in debating and arguing and this is my truth. I pump my videos out. I stand by my truth. I've been wrong. I have many errors in my decodes. I've been wrong many times. You have to shake and move. You have to change your mind when you continually research. A scientist does that. An engineer does that. You constantly are changing when you start to decode deeper and deeper and deeper. And you pick through everything. But debating you just give your gas away. You end up butting against one another. It's absolutely pointless, like you said, James. It's pointless. It actually drives us apart. It puts a wedge. It's just, again, this is where's your consciousness at? If you just look at where's your consciousness at? And I'm talking about you. I'm looking in the mirror like, Logan, where's your consciousness at? Well, I'm not going to debate. Oh, are you afraid? No, I don't care. My results speak for themselves in my decodes. That's my content. I put it out there and you can either accept or reject it. Not asking you to believe in everything that I put out. You must make the truth your own. Crypto Angie, when's my? Oh, so I have a course coming out. I've been really procrastinating on it because and I guess I can't even use that word because it's just my code saying not yet, not yet, not yet. But I'm working on the course. The course that I'm coming out with on how the system that I built is called life coding. That's what it is right now. Tentatively, it may change if I have to change it, and I don't even know. But I don't know if anybody's ever trademarked. I don't really care. I'll just change the name. But anyway, it's called life coding. I've been building it for a long time. And I found the easiest way to decode yourself without ever having to go and get a reading. I do readings. Some people like to get readings. But if you're somebody who likes to decode yourself, I will be able to show you how to dive into not only Western astrology, but also the Vedic, the tropical, and the sidereal. Because they are two separate systems. Some of you have two different sun signs. You're like, wait a minute, how's that possible? Well, I'll give you myself as an example. I was born on February 4th. My Western astrology is telling me that I'm an Aquarius sun, but not in the Vedic. In the Vedic, I am a Capricorn sun. And if I read from Capricorn and Aquarius, there's truth in both. Well, how do you distinguish the truth in both? That's my course coming out. Many of you have 2 rising signs. I'm in a Scorpio rising in the Western, Libra rising in the Vedic, and they're both true for me. I'm going to show you how to, marry the two together. And if you're willing to take this course, it will give you your owner's manual. And when you get your owner's manual finally complete, which it may never be completed because it's endless, you're literally going to generate your own report. You generate your own report. You're going to need a computer or laptop for this. You could do it on your phone, but it'll be much easier with a laptop or computer. I'm going to show you how to do your numerology. Chaldean numerology, total name numerology. A lot of you have decoded your names, but you know what? You have your mother's maiden name. Some of you haven't done that. You take your last names and separate it from your first and middle name. You have your mother's maiden name and your father's last name. They come together, they marry. Those two energies combine. You have that energy. What does that mean for you? You have all these numbers in your name. What does that mean? You have your soul contract, your life path. What does that mean? You have your personality type. If you haven't taken the personality type test, you definitely want to go and take the test. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it right up here and I'm going to put it in the text box. Those of you that have not done the personality type test, what are you waiting for? It's free. Here it is. There it is. I'm going to pin it up to the top. There it is. Now I pinned it at the very top. So go, if you haven't taken the personality type test, it's a 64 free test, 64 questions. Don't overthink it. It's a yes or no, strong yes, regular yes, strong no, regular no. And then it's going to score you. It's going to give you a 4-letter code. That's going to be your personality. You're going to be an introvert or extrovert dominant. That's another piece to your code. I'm going to show you how to do your Enneagram if you're interested in that. I'm going to show you how to do your human design. And I'm going to show you how to do your own decoding. You're never going to need to use any kind of reader if you so choose. A lot of you want to do your own research. Some of you like to get readings. So they'll still come in, I know that, but I want to kind of get out of the reading game. I want to be able to tap into more people, help more people. When I do a reading, it's like 3 hours, 4 hours, and I can only do one at a time. That doesn't make a big enough dent. I want to reach the masses. And I decided to create this course because I wanted to create a course that was affordable for everybody. Literally everybody, even on a budget. So I can say tentatively, it's going to be priced under $100. I haven't figured out the exact price point yet, but it'll be under 99 bucks. Affordable for pretty much everybody here listening to this. 99 US or less. And when you get done with this report, I'm going to show you step by step how to do it. And when you get through, you'll be like, that's it? That's how easy it is? That's how it's simple. A kid can do it. You can give it to your children. And I'd be sitting down with my kids every weekend and, okay, it's time to decode. Come on, kids, time to decode. And you decode them and you let them decode themselves and you let them observe their owner's manual. They're going to find out sooner or later. And the sooner you give them their owner's manual, the better, I feel like the better these kids are going to be. Because that's their operating system. And then you have an easier way to parent your kids. Because when you start to see your kids as if your kid is a jack clubs and you're a 7 of diamonds, you guys don't operate the same way. Yet you're parenting your children as a 7 of diamonds. But your kids have jack clubs. Way different energy. So anyway, when you get done with this report that you create off this system called life coding that I have coming out, you could take that report, you could hand it to somebody and say, read this. Like you could start, I imagine this, you could start, if you're single and you want to date, the best thing you could do is hand it to your new date, hand it to your new partner. You're exchanging reports. Here you go. Get to know me. Let's shortcut the process. This is who I am. And really, you're not going to budge from that code, folks. That's just you being you. You're not going to budge from that code. There's going to be a little bit of room for negotiation, sacrifices, et cetera, but your code is your code. And when you can understand your code and then look at your partners and say, okay, you're just being that way because that's your code. Like Scorpio risings, they're so invested in the occult. They want to know the secrets. You get somebody else in the zodiac, they're like, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. Well, maybe that's so let them do them. If they're like they want to invest in the occult, whatever. Some partners are like, dude, well, that's stupid. You shouldn't be doing that. Well, to you it's stupid, but not somebody who loves it. So to avoid an argument, to have a better relationship with your partner, just be like, oh, you're a Scorpio rising. You love to study the mysteries in the occult. Okay, I'll see you in a couple hours. Because you're not going to get with a partner and you're going to share everything. You're like, oh yeah, I like everything you like. That's stupid. But when you know what your partner likes and how they show up and how they behave, you have an easier time to tolerate. Sometimes there's toleration, or accept your partner. Because it's like, oh, they're this, they're that, their moon's here, their sun's there. Their number is this, they have a soul. Knowing what your soul contract is huge. Your life path in numerology. It's huge. And you just got to know, and once you know numerology, you know the life paths. Once you know numerology, you'll know astrology. And it's so simple. I mean, number one, that's your identity. That's you. This is right here. It's me. Hi. Number one, first house in astrology, your ego, your personality. There you go. The color red. Number two. So life path number one, those of you that have life paths number one, leadership. You're leaders. You're born leaders, born trailblazers. Great ideas. Very competitive because you're number one. Those of you that have number two life paths, orange, Taurus, Venus. Partnerships, two means duality. Works good with people. Those of you that have three life paths, creative, yellow, Gemini, the two twins, being really creative, great communication, probably artistic. Maybe you're a musician, a dancer. And if you feel these urges in your body and you're a three life path and you're not doing it, what the hell are you waiting for? Fours, heart chakra, green, balance, Cancer, the moon, emotions. Stability. You like stability. Those of you that have 4 life paths, you're looking for stability. You like structure or building structures, foundational pieces. 4 life path. 5 life path. The busybodies of the numerology world. 5. 5 is in the middle of the dial pad or calculator. It's the busiest number. You're the adventurer, the risk taker, the experimenter. If you're with a 5 life path and you try to, like, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, you should just stay home with me. You're going to drive them crazy because 5 is the busiest number, 5 life path. They incarnated to experience life in all its totality. So they're the risk takers. The ones that want to get out there and really just get as many places as they possibly can. 5. Man. It's the sun becoming man. It's the number of the sun. 5. Those of you that have the 6th life path, tied to Virgo, tied to the 3rd eye, you're born to meditate. 6 is the first perfect number. It's the last day of creation. It means legacy in astrology. Those of you that have a 6th life path, you came here to master something. Leave a legacy behind. That's 6. 7, you work for the crown. 7 is the great analyst. Those of you that have life paths number 7, you're an analyst. You're constantly analyzing everything. You love the mystical arts. Anything you can get your mind wrapped around to analyze life, you're all about it. Because the crown, which is Saturn, I feel, is the one that's going to analyze life itself. The judge. So you guys that are 7 life paths, your color is violet. You work for the crown, and you're here to analyze life and break things down. You're the great analyst. Those of you that have life path number 8, like myself, you work for Scorpio, which is, what do you think I'm doing? Decode your reality. It's all breaking things down. Occult, knowledge, mystical platforms. 8 is the battery. It's the infinity symbol. It's right here on your eyes. And 8s are here to work with power. You're here to work with power. You can use it for selfish purposes. You can use it for the betterment of mankind. But you're here to control power, to utilize power, to be responsible with power. You could be, those of you that are 8 life paths, you like to be your own boss. You want to be a CEO of a company. You don't want anybody to tell you what to do. I know. You rebel. You don't like orders. You don't like people telling you what to do. You don't like the police, the government, states. That's Scorpio. 8, the rebel. Can't be controlled. Those of you that are 9 life paths, it's tied to Sagittarius, the traveler. It's tied to the planet Jupiter. And it's tied to the color black. It's tied to Neptune as well. I feel Neptune is the 9th planet. It's called the sea monster, Neptune is. And those of you that have 9 life paths, 9 in numerology is the humanitarian. It's the last number. So it's the wisest. The hermit card in the tarot is the 9th card. It's in the 9th house of your astrology. Those of you that you look at your 9th house, what's in your 9th house? That's your higher mind. Those of you that have 9 life paths, you're born to be a humanitarian. You're born to give something to the world. You're here to help the world make it a better place. We're all here to do that. But the 9 life paths, very old souls. But 9 is endings and completions. So you should be working towards some kind of humanitarian effort. You'd work good with an 8 life path because the 8 has the power, the 9 has the humanitarian efforts. Together form a great combination. Those of you that have the master life path numbers, you have 2 numbers. 11s are 11 and 2. 11s are going to be Aquarius and it's going to be Taurus. 11 is designed to work with a lot of people. A lot of people, because the 11th house of astrology is about friends and it's about currency. Aquarius, dealing with wisdom and knowledge and brotherhood. 11 life paths and sisterhood. And the 11 reduces to the 2. The 2 is all about duality and 2 people, more than one, not just yourself. You work, again, you work good with 2s. You work good around people. And this is not, there are exceptions. Doesn't mean it's exclusively for you. These are ideas. But this is why this course I have coming out is going to break it down to where you write your report. And when you get done with that report and you hand it to somebody, everything in that report will be absolutely 100% spot on for you. There will be nothing in there that will be not related or resonating with you. Not one sentence or word. Everything will be exactly who you are. Those of you that are 22 life paths, that's the master builder. In the medicine cards, it's the beaver card, the master builder in nature. 22s are very good at building companies, organizations. 22 leads to the 4. You work good with a lot of people, 22s. Reduces down to the 4, stability, structure, building structures. The great beaver, the master builder. And then number 33 is going to be the 33 and the number 6. So you're going to be the 33, which gives you the double Gemini, the double yellow, and the very super creative, great communicator. 33 reduces down to the 6, tied to Virgo and the 3rd eye. Those of you that have 33 life paths, everybody should be meditating every day. But the 33 and 6 life paths, it should be standard for you every day. You're born to meditate. Those of you that have Jupiter in your 6th house, you should be meditating a lot. because Jupiter has the great red spot on it. It's the all-seeing eye. Jupiter has the all-seeing eye on it. When it's in the 6th house, it's in its home. See, I feel Jupiter's the 6th planet, Saturn's the 7th, and the 6th planet being Jupiter, tied to the 6th house, tied to Virgo. Jesus was born of a virgin. Jesus and Jupiter, 6th house. Family, legacy, last day of creation. So that's the whole scope, and that's numerology. So again, these numbers I just told you, it's so simple once you get the numerology, and then you can take that into your findings of your decoding. You can find out, like, you know, like black, think about it, black sun. Black sun is 25, reduces down to the 7. 7 is Saturn. It's really simple. 7 means the analyst. Like we're told in theology, if you go to church, you went to church, you go to worship on the Sabbath day, whatever day that is. And what are you doing on the Sabbath day? You're analyzing your previous 6 days. You're supposed to analyze them. Well, if you're God, if you're the architect and you create life in the concepts of theology days 1 through 6. And again, I'm not saying this is absolute, just using it because I have a theological background. But day 1 through 6 is the days of creation. On the 7th day, God rested. What would you be, if you're God and you created this reality, what would you be doing on your 7th day? You'd be observing your creation. You'd be figuring out what kind of tweaks you need to do to the creation. Like, okay, that doesn't look good. I got to fix this. That looks pretty good. That looks great. So we're and this is the 7 chakras. The days of creation are inside your chakras. And the crown is the analyzer. It's the analyzer. You analyze your body, you analyze life on the Sabbath day. Day number 7. In the 7th house of astrology, it's Saturn. And it's Libra. And what a better match with Saturn and Libra together, because Libra is the 2 scales. Saturn's the great judge. The judge that sits in front of the courtroom and tells you which one's right and which one's wrong. The great judge. Saturn is 7. Libra is Saturn, the great judge. And across from house number 7 is house number 1, which is Mercury, Mars, and your ego. And you're judged in house number 7. And then just in between 6 and 7, ladies and gentlemen, that's called your descending. That is where marriage and family is. It's just so easy to, once you, and I say it's easy because I've been studying it for years, but I just gave you some shortcuts. It's study numerology. And you'll be way ahead of the decoding world. Many decoders they're really good at connecting numbers, but they don't know what the numbers mean. These numbers have personalities, just like you, just like me. And when you know what the numbers mean, you have a better way to decode than just saying, well, that number is 113, that number is 113. Oh, well, and it's reverse here, and it's this straight up here, and it's a big mess. Pisces is house number 12. Pisces is the hangman. And Pisces is the 2 fish. House number 12. And, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Astrology is your eyeball. Okay? It's really simple. No way to screw it up. Your iris is the 12 houses of astrology. And the black sun that sits in the middle, it's called the pupil. That's number 13. And that's why it's illumination with an A-L. It's aluminum 13. It's the middle. And the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 apostles, it's your eyeball. It's called your iris. Iris is tied to the element. Oh, let me just go through and show you this. Hang on. So you just go to the periodic table, okay? So right here, This element right here is tied to your eyeball. It's the iridium. When you go and do the origin of this, it says it's from the Greek goddess of the rainbow, Iris. And of course, they use the dragonfly. The great dragon was hurled down. It's light, the light spectrum, but it's 77, which is tied to love and fear, which is the two emotions that make up what it's like to be a human being. But this is tied to the iris of your eye. And when you go look at an eyeball close up, right here, what you're going to see inside this eye, that right around the color of your eye is the iris. The color of your eyes all the way around is the zodiac wheel. It's going to fit right in here. And you're going to see, if you go, and I would encourage all of you to go in the mirror and look at your pupils, and right around the pupil, you're going to have the crown of thorns. Here's the Jesus Christ crown of thorns. It's going to be right there. And every single one of you, you will have the crown, this jagged line that goes all the way around the black sun. It's right there, because that you're the Christ, you're the devil, you're both. And you have the crown that wraps around your eye. This is astrology. It's why astrology charts are round. And I know you have two eyes, so the two charts that make up your eyes is your time you were born and the now moment. And that's the two eyes. This is astrology. You're owned by the stars and the zodiac signs. It's really simple. Really, really simple information. So that's the big secret. No more secrets, right? Astrology is your eyeball. It's your eye. It's your iris. The color. And then you got your little, that's why I say you're the devil. The black sun. Black sun. You just got to have fun with this. I'm not saying you're the devil with the pitchfork and the tail and the horns, but folks, you're a sinner. It's unavoidable. Can't just take it so serious. We are demigods. Well, I feel like we're whatever created this reality, you're being used to experience the reality. Matter of fact, let me just go back to the screen again. Here we go. Let me just do some decoding for you. Here you go. So this is what we're being used for. You're giving feedback to the demiurge. That's what we're being used for, our energy. And you're giving feedback. That's what you're doing between this and this. Love and fear. And the clue, ladies and gentlemen, is on the periodic table. Because we were just talking about the eye and the iris. Love and fear. Well, what's the 37th element? Let's go to that. 37th element. Bada bing, bada boom. What do you see there? What is that? It's the all-seeing eye. See? Love and fear. This is the two emotions that all of us are giving off. 37, love and fear. 16 and 21. Sulfur and scandium. If you just type that in as well. Sulfur representing fear, representing Lucifer. Sulfur's 28, Lucifer's 28. And then you have scandium. And that's going to tie into Jupiter and currency. So it's scandium and sulfur. Going to give us the number 55. And what do we have for 55? Predestination. 55. See, I don't have to go beyond the Chaldean. Once you go here, where do you go from here? Look at all these. It has every number. That's why it's retarded to use all these ciphers and figure it out. You're going to be led to, even if you just go to the base ones, 7s and 11s and 2s. Where are you going to go from here? And I don't even like to reduce it down. I like keeping the numbers in its authentic format. So we have 169, we have 70, we have 209, we have 83. How do you make heads or tails of this? 26, 17, 55, 10. Where do you go with this right here? How do you get your matches? How do you even try to decode using this methodology that some people use? It's a big waste of time, folks. That's my opinion, by the way. And that's not putting down anybody else's methodology. Stick with this. See, it's God, and it's the God of what? Time. And who is the God of time? Well, it's the devil. It's Satan. It's obvious. And you know, the 14 reduces down to the 5, and 5 is going to be how many fingers you have on your hand. You're going to have the sun, which is the 14. You're going to have God as the 14, which is operating time. And it's the sun devil, which is Satan. Satan is just time. That's all it is, folks. Time is what will kill you. You only have so much time. And you take that 14 and you go to the periodic table and you have this element right here called silicon. Notice the weight, 28. Its most abundant is 27. 27 and 28, tied to Lucifer. This is tied to Silicon Valley in the United States. I showed this in my Two Thieves Decoded, that silicon, this is 1/2 of the 3-point. 3.14, this is the future. Silicon Valley. The future is technology. 14. Through time, the great decayer of time is Satan, the devil. The devil will make you decay. It will kill you. Time will ruin everything. It's going to ruin everything. And when you look at the devil, it's 19. And we know 19 in the tarot is the sun card. It's just so easy when you just stick to Chaldean and not deviate away from it. When you deviate away from Chaldean and you go to all these other ciphers, you're going to get so many watered down results and you're not going to figure it out. You're going to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's just so easy to use one cipher. Do animals sin? I guess. I don't know. That's a pretty philosophical question. Interesting question. Austria in the house. Am I the whistleblower of the... Pfft. I'm just me. I'm just Logan. I'm a free Logan. So kind of the joke. I'm just Logan. That's it. I'm a tour guide. I had done a reading for a friend and she's like, Logan, you seem like you're a tour guide. And it really kind of fit. This is let me show you. This is the comedy of this reality. When she had said that, again, just being you. So you'll see my name is Logan, right? And so, am I this? Am I the devil? We're all little devils down here. So that's why you can't just use absolutes to say, oh, there's the connection. Logan must be the devil. But nonetheless, she said I was a tour and she said I was a guide. And they're both 19. So I kind of thought, like, okay, well, that's interesting. And, you have this word right here, being, this is what we are. The sun is a battery. But anyway, I'm just a tour guide. That's all I am. And I'm not here to take away your beliefs or your truths. I'm not here to force feed anything to you. I'm not here to stuff it down your throat. You're either going to accept or reject. And as a matter of fact, I don't want you to accept everything that I say, because what I say for my truth is for my journey. You got to figure out your journey. Your journey is not identical to mine. Your journey is not identical to your partner's. It's not identical to your mom or your dad or your kids or your friends. Your journey is your journey. And that's it. That is a fact that I know is a fact. There's no two journeys that are identical. So you got to make the truth your own. You got to make the truth your own. Oh, what's up, Greg? Bow and arrow in the house. Thanks for your support and comments, brother. Great decoder, Greg Bow. Animals are authentic. Animals were not given the wherewithal of knowing good and bad. Like they know it instinctively. Like it's interesting, here in Mexico, I go to the gym and I walk back. It's like a 2-mile walk. Love it. And I get to be out in nature. It's warm. I love it here. And as I'm walking down the street, on the side streets, there's all these lizards. And every time I get close to one, they book it into the woods. They don't even hesitate. They just book it. Because I'm a threat. So instinctively they know, and we have this embedded into us as well. Someone comes running at you with a knife or a gun, you're going to freaking hitchhike it. You're going to be out. But anyway, these lizards are fight or flight. Just bing, bang, boom. A lot of other animals do that. Even the crocodiles I see. They'll hightail it out when you come in near the water. But animals are not programmed the same way as we are. They're a step below, a fractal down. That doesn't say that they're any worse off or they're not, we're better than, because we're not. Like when you become a conscious decoder of life and you realize that it's an ecosystem, an eco means E is 5, co is chaos and order. It's a 5 chaos and order system, ecosystem. That's what we live in, a 5-based chaos and order system. 5, tied to nickel. Nickel's tied to Lucifer. And Lucifer's tied to the sun. In astrology, the 5th house is ruled by the sun, Leo the lion. It says in 1 Peter 5 verses 8, your adversary, the lion, walks about like a roaring lion. What is it? It's the sun. It can't get any more apparent than that, folks. And, if you want to go really, really deep with decoding, see, in the only scripture that talks about Lucifer, which is not even Lucifer, it's hell. That's how I pronounce it, because it's only 4 consonants. H-Y-L-L. Hell. Some people say it's Hallel, but it's hell. It's kind of very fitting because that's what Lucifer ruled. You're in it. But it says in that scripture that Lucifer weakens the nation. It's the son of the morning. Well, another word for morning is the dawn. Another word for morning is the dawn. When you go to the periodic table, let's see what element is the dawn. Well, it's this one. It's Radon. Lucifer is the son of the morning, which is the son of the dawn, and it's Radon. Radon is the decay of radium. So you have and look at what its weight is. 2, 2, 2. Right here, it says it right here. The name is derived from radium, which is element 88, as it was first detected as an emission from radium during decay. So what weakens the nations, ladies and gentlemen? The sun. And what is the sun giving off? Radiation. Radon, Lucifer, the son of the morning. It's all in the alchemical representations. It's all there. You can't miss it. There's no way to screw it up once you see it. Yeah, the morning star is the sun. Morning star. So it rises every day, the morning star. So the sun's a star, rises in the morning, and the sun gives off radiation. Radium, Ra, the sun god Ra, is radium. And radium decays through thorium down to radon. And here's the kicker. Radon decays. If you leave it out, it decays. Over time, Satan decays down to lead. the 82nd element, tied to prison planet. Lead to gold. And that's what the true essence of alchemy is. It's we become lead and we go back to the sun, go back to gold. Gold currency. We're being used and mined for our energy. Energy harvesting. The Greeks coined this a long time ago. It's called ambrosia. This is nothing new. The truth, ladies and gentlemen, is in the frickin' periodic table. It's all there. So it's, and if you go beyond radium, it's element 88 and the number 226, the average for 226. For radium's element, 88. You're going to get to 89, which is going to be actinium. And then you're going to get to 90, thorium, tied to Thor. Then you're going to get to 91, called protactinium, which means the first. 91, and that could be tied to Saturn, protactinium. But then you get into 92, which is where it's going to start it all off. The last, this is debatable, but the last natural element on Earth is called uranium. Uranium. Let me show you guys a slide. I think I'm going to end this transmission, but let me show you guys a slide. Hang on. Where is it at? Give me 1 second. This one's pretty important. The hell is it? This one's pretty important too. Hang on 1 sec, folks. Bear with me. Where the hell is it? I have so much information on Chronos coming out too. This one's pretty profound too. I want to find this for you. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to show you the Christ. You guys ready for this one? There it is. So this is a very typical picture of the Jesus Christ superstar, the character. And you always get this, corona around his head, but is Jesus either the earth or moon or the moon? He's always pointing to the heart a lot of times. And then he's got his and I found this from Jill Rowland, another great decoder. Thank you, Jill, if you're here listening. She knows sign language, and she said, oh, this right here is the symbol for the letter U in sign language. And that was a huge clue for me. Because Jesus is saying that no one gets to the Father except through me. Who's the Father? Well, if this means the letter U, it's Uranus, uranium. The last natural element on the periodic table. This is the horseshoe. This is what magnets look like. Remember the old school magnets? You hold them. Has a positive and negative side. It's the symbol of Uranus is pointing straight up. And this 238, if you take 238 and you add the 92, you're going to get 330, the 33. So this is magnetic, Uranus, which stands for Father Sky, the ether. And then he's pointing to the heart, which means earth, tellurium. And it means that we're being mined for our currency. The earth is an anagram for heart, but it's 92 and 52. This is a big clue for all of you great decoders. The 92 and the 52. When you take 92 and you add it to the 52, go ahead and add it up. You're going to get 144. And that's what I feel this means. And I got way more to show you on this, but it's all in the alchemical elements, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a decoder, start using the periodic table. I'm telling you, this is what it means. It's Uranus, father sky, the father of Saturn, and the last known element on the periodic table, 92. And 92 and 52 is 144. 127 is the 31st prime number. That's 3.1. It's pi. We live on pi. It's Earth. And you go, but the father is Uranus, according to what this is saying. Anyway, kind of a big deal right there. But there it is. It's 144, 92 and 52. 92 and 52. 144. That's right. You run us. You run us. That's right. Uranus, you run us. It's right there in the words phonetically. The letter U is the 21st letter in the English alphabet. 21 is tied to the word love in numerology. Chaldean. The letter U is the 21st letter in the English alphabet. 21 is tied to the word love in numerology. Chaldean. You go to the tarot. What does the tarot got to say about it? To give us the picture, because we think in pictures. Well, you go to the last card in the major arcana, folks. And there it is. Tied to uranium. It's the world card. It's got the 4 fixed signs of astrology there. The ox, lion, eagle, man. The fixed signs. And you have the portal. Saturn equals 21. So somehow, some way, Saturn fits in there. Maybe going through the portal of time. Those of you like, okay, so I'm telling you, Uranus and uranium are big deals. Universe starts with the letter U. I was given these clues when I moved to Mexico for the first time. The place I moved into was the small casita I told you I was supposed to go there. It was built in the 1930s. I was born 40 years later, but yet I saw the patterns and signs and symbols that I was supposed to be there eventually, and I did go there. And the big kicker was something I didn't even pay attention to. Over the door I'd walk out to leave was a horseshoe. That U over the door. And it wasn't just that. Then I went to visit my parents in their new house they moved into. And what was above the door going from the garage into the house? The horseshoe. So folks, this is my life. I just pay attention to everything I can, and I just let go. Uranium, the U. This is what the Christ was pointing at, the Father. So it's magnetic heart. It's the magnetic and electric. The Elohim. That's where the Elohim comes from. Elohim equals 47. Tetragrammaton equals 47. 47 is tied to silver. Silver is the most electric element on the periodic table. Think about what I just said to you. Silver is 47. Tetragrammaton is 47. And it has at the end of it, thank you, Jordan Maxwell, at the end of tetragrammaton, it's Aton, which is A10, which is the sun deity in the Egyptian times. Going back to Ra again. Tetragrammaton. Tetra meaning 4. It's tied to silver. The most electrical element on the periodic table is silver. It's one of the keys on the Vatican flag. The other one's gold. Silver and gold, currency. And the most magnetic element on the periodic table, holmium. Ho, ho, ho. Santa's element, 67. So 67 and 47. 114. It's going to give you indium, element 49, down in a hole. Folks, it's just so easy to see it when you can see the things that have always been there. And I just encourage you as a decoder, start decoding your life. Start to look around everywhere. What kind of symbols are at your house? Look at everything you can. Give thanks to that, gratitude. Pay attention to the things around you. Yeah, thank you. That's right. Aton. That's right. Tetragrammaton. And I just found that the other day. Jordan Maxwell. I was watching Donut from YouTube. Great channel. Go subscribe to him. Donut. Found him from Jordan. He's a film producer. He's got great videos. But he had interviewed Jordan Maxwell, and he's sitting there at 80 years old throwing all these truth bombs out. And I didn't even know about the break it, like tetragrammaton. I've broken it down. I know it's the number 99 tied to Einsteinium, but it's the aton at the end. You go study aton, it's A10. A10, it's tied to the sun. A10 is derived from Ra. It's just handed down. Change story. Oh, it's different this time. I don't like the sun being called Ra. I think I'm going to call it A10. I mean, it's no different than you saying, well, I'm getting tired of my playlist on my phone. I need some new music for the gym. I mean, if you had to listen to the same 10 songs for 5 years, you'd go crazy with those 10 songs. Imagine that. You had to go to the gym, work out, or go on your hike, or whatever, and you only had 10 songs you could play, and that's it. And you were forced to listen to them for 5 years straight every single time you go work out. You'd be like, I can't wait to get rid of this playlist. That's the game of life. The game of life gets bored. And the game of life is no different than your body. You come out into this world naked, little baby, unblemished, pure, non-programmed to a certain degree. And then you go through life, you go through time, you go through Satan gets its hands on you, which is time. And next thing you know, you break something. Or you break your arm. You get in a car accident, you smack the back of your head. You get a concussion. Scrape your knee. You got a scar here, a bruise there. And then next thing you know, you're 49 years old and you're like, oh man, whoo, really feeling it. That's time. That's what time does. It ruins us. Yeah, I know Jordan passed away. He said it, man, in the video, in the interview I was watching. He's like, I'm ready. That was 2 years ago. Because I think he passed at 82, which is prison planet, which is tied to lead. Whew. It's just so funny, folks, when you look at Santa Claus. What is Santa Claus known to do? He comes from the roof. Let me show you the comedy of this reality. Let me just show you a little bit more. And I think I'm going to end this transmission, but let me show you. So, here you go. Santa Claus is 30. Same as the New Age name of Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. Same as the Gnostic presentation of the god, the demiurge. 30. Maybe you've seen that movie Zero Dark 30. You'll see the 30 everywhere. It's everywhere. But you take this 30 and you go into the periodic table, and what do you have? Zinc. Here's the comedy. Okay? Here's the comedy. Here's the icon the Royal Society of Chemistry decided to use for zinc. There it is. There's the prison box and the spiral. Okay? So you go back to this element and you go under the uses and properties and you read what it says. An alchemical symbol for zinc is against an abstract background inspired by zinc roofing materials. roofing materials. And then you go back to this guy. And what does he come down off of? The roof. It's a joke. Do you think that these guys, Royal Society of Chemistry, put this there because they were sitting down, they're like, yeah, Santa Claus is 30? No, come on, folks. I can show you countless examples of the comedy of whatever created this reality. There it is. Zinc. And that 65 is big. This is the 1111. You break it down, 65.38. But there it is. Santa Claus, the aspects of Santa Claus is that he comes down from the roof, comes down your chimney, and enters into your home. That is telling you that the architect comes from wherever the hell it comes from and comes down and becomes man. Santa Claus. That's what it's telling us. So next time you see Santa Claus, just laugh and smile because it's just telling you that it's spirit to matter. That's what it's telling us. Spirit to matter. It's just hilarious. It's just funny. Kirk Hood, time doesn't ruin us, it makes us wiser and mentally strong. Yeah, there's always two sides of a coin, two sides of the same coin. So yes, in the positive side, you get wiser, you get more gnosis, you get knowledge-based, you get turned into the hermit. But that comes with a price tag. The price tag you pay is that you decay, you break down, you start to feel like shit, you suffer, you have pain, all that stuff. It's unavoidable. So yes, there is the good stuff, but then there's the price you pay to get that, which is time. That's what time does. So time is both a construct and a deconstruct. That's just how I see it. Well, thanks for all your comments, folks. So, I mean, there's a lot of great decoders out there. And the big contradiction, obviously, is, really decoding the constructs of how it really works and putting energy into that. And, it's really, it is a contradiction because essentially when we put these decodes out, they're feeding wherever we're decoding. That's just magic 101. That's just the way it is. But I'm not going to stop decoding. Not until at least my voice in my head tells me to stop. I still have a lot of gas in my tank to decode. But I'm looking at more and more of really narrowing it down to how this reality operates. And I'm really looking forward to getting with Jason Bashirs from Archaics and talking about this simulation because, I didn't even know about that guy until he came on Santos's podcast, Santos, on the Syncretism Society, and then he was talking about and I just found out about it, and I'm like, damn, dude, you got the same truth bombs as I'm dropping. Simulation. Sim is 314, SIM is 314, it's pi. So it's just like, I can't wait to jump in with this dude and break down, because we're gonna talk shop, man. We're gonna talk numbers. And he was heavy into the 138. 138's tied to Lanthanum and the 57 and Lucifer, and the 138 means to lie hidden. It's just, there's something to the Great Pyramid of Giza, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it with these numbers he's got, man. I'm just really looking forward to really joining forces with him. But I have no doubt in my mind we're living in a simulation. And it's real to us, but it's not real to whatever. It's like, again, it's a fractal above. But, if you go watch your show tonight, like I got a little left to Ozark. What a great show that was. But I got a little bit more to go. And it's like, I look forward to it. It's entertainment. But when I watch that screen, I know it's a fractal down. And it's just entertainment. But I still catch myself. I'll go and I'll get emotionally involved with these characters. Like, wait a minute, this is not even real. But yet I'm getting emotionally involved. So if we can get emotionally involved with something that's not real, that tells us a major thing about how this reality works. Majorly. I don't know when I'm going to be doing the podcast with Jason Brashears from Archaics. I actually got to I'm going to email him as soon as I finish this transmission with all of you, and see when we're going to schedule it. It will be probably for next week. I just don't know when, but I'll start to advertise it. I know he wants to put it on his channel as well. I don't know if we're going to do it live or if we're going to just do a Zoom and then put it up after that. I mean, I'm not going to edit anything out. It's just going to be straight up, ready to go. Okay, let's hit record. Welcome. And then the end of it's going to be the end of it. There's no editing out. It's all improv, straight up. And I don't have to. And, the timelines, the timestamps of all my decodes, now you're seeing them. I'm showing some of these behind the scenes. It's ridiculous how I'm being used to deliver this information to all of you, how in tune I am with these numbers. And that's not saying anything like not patting myself. It's just the way it is for my life. And a lot of you great decoders are getting the same kind of situations. That's what you and a lot of the other great decoders are doing. I mean, just joining forces with so many people, and I'm just really having a fun time with it. So I think I'm going to end this transmission. I thank each and every one of you great decoders on the world stage for coming and joining tonight on Wednesday, Mercury's day, the planet of communication. So there's a lot of fun tonight, talking shop, talking decoding. I tried to stick to that topic. Remember my new channel on YouTube? It's called Cosmic Sugar. It's kind of like my brother or sister of my website. CosmicSugar.org is my website I use exclusively for readings. It's not finished yet, but nonetheless, my Cosmic Sugar YouTube channel, I'm going to be building and putting content on there, doing live transmissions like this, just talking about health and wellness. I know about detoxing. I have a detox program, 22-day detox. The average person loses 20 pounds in 22 days. If you have a lot of courage and you have a lot of willpower, it's a really good step in the right direction. So I have these live transmissions I'm going to be doing on Cosmic Sugar, all about becoming a better you, from the physical to the mental. We're going to be interviewing people, all about the physical and the mental. Really not going to be doing any decoding per se with this Cosmic Sugar channel. Going to be dedicating it to becoming a better version of yourself physically and mentally. So I really appreciate all you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining in tonight, man. I'm probably gonna, maybe I'll just keep doing these every Wednesday. I don't know, but let's just kind of let's get it. Let's kind of end it where we started it all. The folk implosion and the song Natural One. So big shout out to all you great decoders. Thank you so very much, wherever you are in the world, man. Much love. As Jordan said, high vibes going your way. Keep it neutral, folks. Slightly love. Stop giving your gas away to all the static on the world stage. Put the gas into your own tank. Study yourself, decode yourself. So that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, folks. See you later.
Where I can love how I like, if I want it, whatever keeps me high. Yeah, we can take it, cut loose on an endless spring. Good because we made it, and when mama's not around, there's no telling what we'll do. You're